Chapter 119. It turns out that big white chubby isn't a fool. She can tell that I've put in a lot of effort tonight. Raising his phone, Lin Jiej was just about to reply to Yao loves ice cream message when Xie Shangzhou, who was lying on the bed, suddenly shouted, "Boss, you're on the school forum again, and it's about a love scandal. So what if I'm on it? Ever since I joined the school as a freshman 2 years ago, I've never once disappeared from the school forum. What's there to be surprised about?" Lin Jiej calmly tapped on his phone screen, treating Xie Shangzhou's words as nothing more than a fart. "It's getting late, hurry up." Halfway through Lin Jiej's message to Yao loves ice cream, Xie Shangzhou suddenly leaped off the bed with a gudong. "Boss, this matter is even more serious than the incident with Bel Qin." Bel Qin. Lin Jiej stopped typing with a confused look on his face. It took him a moment to recall who the Bel Qin Xie Shangzhou was referring to was. So, Xie Shangzhou's so-called love scandal was referring to another girl who had inexplicably made him her boyfriend again. A hint of disgust flashed across Lin Jiej's eyes, and his voice turned cold as he asked, "Who is it this time?" "It's a year 1 junior from the English faculty. Her name is Shi Yao," Xie Shangzhou replied after taking a look at the scandal in the forum. Shi Yao. As this familiar name drifted into Lin Jiej's ears, the cold aura that was emanating from his body suddenly vanished. "Since it's soft bun, I'll just let it slide then." With such a thought in mind, Lin Jiej raised his finger, intending to complete the message that he had typed halfway. However, this time, before his finger could even touch the screen, Xie Shangzhou had already walked up to him and exclaimed, "This junior looks a little familiar. I feel like I've seen her somewhere before. Isn't she the female student who bumped into boss on the day of the school anniversary? The heck, it's my goddess. My goddess is actually called Shi Yao. What a beautiful name. Wait, the boss, what did you do to my goddess? Why did my goddess go home with you? Your goddess. Did you ask for my permission? You're just calling me your goddess." Suppressing the urge to kick Xie Shangzhou out of the window, Lin Jiej shot him a sidelong glance. Just as he was about to look away, Xie Shangzhou jumped up in a rage as if someone had F***ed his entire family. F***ck, these forum dogs, how dare they smear my goddess so badly. I'm going to open up 3,000 alternate accounts and flame them to death. To be so blackened. Lin Jiej immediately grasped the crux of the matter. Without even thinking about the meaning behind those words, he had already snatched Xie Shangzhou's phone. Who would have thought that a certain girl from G University would spend the night with a different man every night? Let's cut to the chase and get straight to the picture. There were 4 pictures at the bottom. Lin Jiej took a quick glance at them, but he didn't pay too much attention to them. Instead, he scrolled down the screen to look at the content behind. "I know her. She's a freshman from the English faculty. Her name is Shi Yao." The name sounds okay, but his character isn't that great. The more pure and aloof a girl looks, the more despicable she is. "Boss, you have your own phone. Why are you using my phone?" Xie Shangzhou shouted, wanting to snatch his phone back. Ignoring him, Lin Jiej continued browsing through the forums silently. Chapter 120. That's because she's flirtatious enough. She's probably out to sell herself. The heck, what the heck is going on here? Lin Jiej's chest heaved in anger. Thank the heavens that my Adonis wasn't bitten by a dog. My Adonis isn't someone a shameless piece of trash like you can get close to. At this point, Lin Jiej suddenly raised his hand and flung Xie Shangzhou's phone away. The phone crashed into the wall before falling to the ground with a donk sound. Following which, countless cracks appeared on the screen. "Boss, this is my..." Before Xie Shangzhou could finish his complaint, Lin Jiej shot him a glare, causing him to cover his mouth in fright. Lin Jiej kicked the chair behind him furiously, but due to the force behind his kick, the chair knocked into Xia Shangzhou's leg, nearly causing him to kneel on the floor. As if he didn't see this sight, Lin Jiej strode over to the balcony and slammed the door loudly. The dormitory room fell silent for a moment before Lu Benlai, who had already hidden himself under his blanket, peeked his head out and asked, "Is boss really angry?" Xia Shangzhou kneeled on the floor and rubbed his injured leg. Looking at his shattered phone, he nodded and replied tearfully, "Yes. Boss is a little cold, and his temper isn't particularly good either. However, as long as you don't cross his bottom line, he rarely gets angry. This matter isn't as simple as it seems." Lu Benlai analyzed the situation as he shot a glance at Xia Shangzhou, who was kneeling on the floor, and gloated. "Aren't you stupid? You could clearly see that boss's expression isn't good, so why didn't you hide further away? Look at me, Lu Benlai, I'm your grandfather." Xia Shangzhou stood up and leaped onto Lu Benlai's bed. "The heck? Get down. You're going to crush your grandfather to death." "I'm crushing you." Just as the two of them were bickering, the balcony door was pulled open. Lu Benlai and Xia Shangzhou immediately stopped their bickering, and the two burly men hurriedly hid under Lu Benlai's blanket. "Did you see boss's expression when he came in?" "No, but I could feel his killing intent through the blanket." "What is boss doing?" "Go take a look." "I don't dare." "You can see for yourself." While Lu Benlai and Xia Shangzhou were whispering to each other, Lin Jiej's voice sounded from outside the blanket. "Hello, Lawyer Zhang. I'm sorry to bother you so late at night. Do you have time now? If you do, help me get a lawyer's letter." "Yes, I need it now." "Okay, I'll send the details to your phone later." "Sorry for the trouble, bye." Xia Shangzhou, why does boss need a lawyer's letter? Lu Benlai, how would I know? I don't even know what happened on the forum. Ding dong, Xia Shangzhou, boss sent me a text. Lu Benlai, boss even switched on his laptop, boss actually started typing. Xia Shangzhou said as he quietly pulled the blanket aside. Boss's computer page is showing the school forum. Boss, who hasn't been on the forum for 100 years, actually went to the forum. Lu Benlai leaned over and stared intently at Lin Jiej's rapidly tapping fingers on the keyboard. Boss, your typing speed sure is fast. It's clear that you're going to take on the world and the haters. Chapter 121. Xia Shangzhou, can you see what boss typed? Lu Benlai, my glasses are at the bottom. Xia Shangzhou pushed Lu Benlai aside and said, move aside, let me do it. Craning his neck, Xia Shangzhou strenuously stared at Lin Jiej's computer screen as he spat out word by word, that is my family's computer. And what? Lu Benlai asked anxiously. Don't speak, you're affecting my concentration. Xia Shangzhou nudged Lu Benlai with his elbow to signal for him to keep quiet. After which, he continued. Boss deleted the previous sentence. Did he think that it wasn't written well? Boss started typing again, and this time, he typed. That's the car and driver that my grandfather arranged for Yao Yao. The heck, boss's words are much deeper than the one he deleted earlier. Lu Benlai exclaimed. Due to a moment of carelessness, Lu Benlai's voice was a little too loud, and it alarmed Lin Jiej, who was in the midst of typing on the keyboard. The young man casually grabbed a pen by the side of the laptop, and without even bothering to look at the two behind him, he tossed it out. The pen landed squarely on Lu Benlai's bed, frightening Xia Shangzhou and Lu Benlai so much that they immediately hid under the blanket, not daring to move recklessly. Sure Yao's, thank you, to less than 111,111, didn't receive a reply for a long time. Accustomed to being ignored by less than 111,111, Shirya wasn't in a bad mood. Instead, she put down her phone, opened the cabinet, took out a bag of potato chips, and began munching on them happily. It was already midnight, and Leng Muan and Jiang Yu were already asleep. He Tian, who had just switched off her phone, heard Shiryao's movements, and couldn't help but mutter, "Yao Yao, what time is it already? Why are you still eating? Aren't you afraid that I'll poison your water out of jealousy?" Shiryao took a potato chip and passed it to He Tian. "Do you want one?" He Tian covered her head with the blanket. "Please don't use food to tempt someone who's on a diet in the middle of the night. That's shameless and immoral. To me, it's no different from torture." "Alright, I won't make things difficult for you then." Shiryao took back the potato chips and stuffed them into her mouth. As soon as Yao Yao swallowed the pill, He Tian pulled back her blanket and sat up. "Yao Yao, are you in a bad mood because of what happened in the forum? How about I chat with you?" "Shiryao, there's no need for that. I'm fine now. I'll go to bed after brushing my teeth. You should hurry up and sleep." He Tian, "Are you sure?" "Shiryao, really?" He Tian, "All right then. Don't think too much about it and go to bed early." With 2 potato chips stuffed into her mouth, Shiryao puffed up her cheeks and nodded her head vehemently. He Tian lay down once more. After a while, her breathing became long and steady. While everyone in the dormitory room was asleep, Shiryao finished her fries and brushed her teeth. However, she didn't head straight to bed as she had told He Tian earlier. Instead, she sat in front of her desk and switched on her laptop. Things happen and you have to face them. The incident on the forum had been going on for a day and a night. The onlookers should have had enough by now. Now it was time for the show to end. Late at night, the entire school was eerily quiet. Amidst the sounds of her 3 roommates sleeping soundly, Shiryao sat in front of her laptop, clicking on the mouse from time to time. Chapter 122. Shiryao had no idea how long she had slept, but she knew that it wasn't enough. Just as she was feeling drowsy, she was awoken by Jiang Yu's screams. Shiryao took a look at the time. It was 9 in the morning. She had only slept for 4 hours. "I'm really sleepy. Don't make so much noise. Let me sleep a little longer," Shiryao said weakly. After saying those words weakly, Shiryao rolled over and prepared to continue sleeping. However, a thought suddenly came to her mind, and she added, "Remember to bring some back for me when you head to the school canteen for lunch. Eat. Eat your head. Yao Yao, hurry up and look at the school forum." He Tian's voice was even louder than Jiang Yu's screams. Shiryao covered her ears and said, There's no need to bother about the forum anymore. I'll deal with it after I'm done sleeping. It'll be too late by the time you deal with it. Besides, there's no need for you to deal with it anymore, because..." At this point, He Tian seemed to know what Jiang Yu was going to say, and she spoke in unison with her. "Lin Jiej will deal with it for you." "Oh," Shiryao, who was on the verge of dozing off, replied calmly. Roughly 5 seconds later, she suddenly opened her eyes. "Lin Jiej." In the next instant, Shiryao's drowsiness vanished without a trace. She abruptly sat up, grabbed her phone, and tapped into the school forum. Other than G University's female student spends the night with a different man, there were many new threads popping up, and they were all extremely popular. Hanjing PK Lin Jiej is clearly the winner. Single for 3 years, Lin Jiej's legendary girlfriend has finally appeared. Great news! Lin Jiej is no longer single. G University is finally mine. Amidst the row of new threads, Shiryao saw an extremely concise title. Notice plus statement, this title. Who posted this thread? Why is it so ostentatious? Furthermore, it's so popular. It can't be that it's because of someone scolding, right? With such thoughts in mind, Shuryev tapped into the thread. The author was 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. This name. What a perfunctory one. With this thought in mind, Shuryev moved on to the main body of the post. I didn't think that the top students of G University would actually have a PhD in the field of gossip. Alright, let's cut to the chase and get straight to the point. Wasn't this the kill Lubu F***ck Diao Chan mode of posting? The person who posted the thread was really talented. The first picture, that is the car and driver that my grandpa arranged for Yao Yao. I don't know the details of the second picture, but I believe in Yao Yao. As for the third picture, this isn't the first time Yao Yao has been to my house, and even without me, she would have entered the password to enter my house. As for the fourth picture, I'm hungry, what's wrong with having breakfast together? After reading those 3 sentences, it suddenly dawned on Shuryev that this was the thread that Jiang Yu and He Tian were talking about, the one that Lin Jiej had helped her deal with. The dirtier your heart is, the dirtier the world you see. Therefore, regarding the post about a certain G University girl spending the night with a different man, I have nothing to say. I'll just give you guys a picture. Below this sentence, there was a picture. Shuryev took a closer look and realized that it was a lawyer's letter. The contents of the lawyer's letter were directed to the entire G University forum. Chapter 123. At the bottom right corner of the post were a few words, Lin Jiej, April 21, 2018. The thread had been reviewed at 6 in the morning, and in just 3 short hours, it had already garnered over 1,000 replies. Other than a bunch of Lin Jiej's fangirls lamenting over the fact that their Adonis was already taken, there were some that were particularly interesting. For example, a sock puppet named A Good Man Forever Flat Chest replied, "My current incarnation is called Beast." G University's top students actually all had doctorates in the field of gossip. Those students who are scolding people based on 4 photos, take note, I'm talking about you guys. My grandfather has arranged a car and a driver for Yao Yao. The key phrase is my grandfather and Yao Yao. This isn't just a relationship, they've already met her parents, and they're very satisfied with her. They've even arranged a car and a driver for her. I believe in Yao Yao. These 5 simple words smacked the faces of those who were watching the commotion. She knows how to enter my house too, so this means that she knows my house's password. I'm curious, does she know the password to my bank card? She's the only person I've ever kissed. Single dogs, do you understand now? For example, a sock puppet named Little Brother, I'm a Lolita, want a date? Replied, F***CKF***CKF***CK, Lin Jiej sure is arrogant. He actually sent a lawyer's letter to the school forum. He's really angry over a beauty, so he's heading straight to the school. Compared to the discussions on the forum, the 3 in the dormitory room weren't in any way inferior. He Tian, to think that my Adonis would appear on the forum for the first time for Yao Yao, and Yao Yao is my roommate. I suddenly feel like I'm getting closer to my Adonis. Jiang Yu, Yao Yao, tell me honestly, what's your relationship with Lin Jiej? You two aren't close, so how do you know his password? If you two aren't close, why would he kiss you? Ling Wan, that's right, if you're not close, will his family arrange a driver and car for you? Faced with everyone's aggressive interrogation, Shuryev, who was still in a daze from the forum, replied blankly, I don't know. Screw you. Wait for us to finish browsing the forum first. We'll interrogate you once we're done. Jiang Yu grabbed a pillow and threw it at Shuryev. He Tian seconded, +1. Ling Wan agreed, +2. Without saying a word, Shuryev turned her gaze back to her phone screen. She read through Lin Jiej's post from start to end, word for word, and only then did her brain begin to operate at an extremely slow pace. Lin Jiej. He clearly didn't want her to get involved with him, so why did he step forward to help her? It was one thing to help her, but the statement was so ambiguous. It was as if their relationship was not ordinary. Could it be that the words of the people on the forum were too harsh, and it triggered the righteous spirit in him, so he conveniently saved the poor little girl who was being attacked by a group of people? Shuyao pondered for a moment, and she felt that this was the most likely possibility. However, there might be other reasons, but it was a pity that Tian interrupted her thoughts and said, Yao Yao, Han Jing has also clarified for you on the forum. He said that it was a classmate gathering that day, and we went to karaoke together. There's a KTV right next to it. Right after Tian said those words, Han Jing's call came in. Chapter 124. Han Jing, Shuyao, I know what happened on the forum. I went up to explain it to you just now. Shuyao, I saw it too. Thank you, Senior Han. You're welcome. Han Jing paused for a moment before asking with a gentle tone, Yao Yao, are you all right? Shuyao knew that Han Jing was referring to the forum, so she replied, I'm fine. It's good that you're fine. Han Jing paused for a moment before calling Shuyao's name once more, Shuyao, Shuyao replied. A long time later, when she still didn't hear Han Jing's voice, she called out once more, Senior Han. Han Jing's voice trailed off. In truth, he wanted to ask her if the man singing beside her on the phone that night was Lin Jiej, but he didn't have the courage to do so. After struggling for a long time, he eventually chose to give up. It's fine now. I'll be heading to class now, so I'll be hanging up first. Goodbye, Senior Han. After hanging up the call, Shuyao glanced at her 3 roommates huddled together, engrossed in the forum. Without saying a word, she lay down and closed her eyes, intending to catch up on her sleep. She hadn't slept enough, and she was so tired that her temples were throbbing. Yet, she couldn't fall asleep no matter how she closed her eyes. Her mind was filled with the words Lin Jiej had posted on the forum. Shuyao had no idea how long her thoughts ran wild before she finally fell into a deep slumber. It was already noon when she was woken up by the aroma of food. Her 3 roommates had just returned from the canteen, and they were currently sprawled on their desks with their phones in front of them. While they ate, they talked about the forum. Shuyao climbed out of bed, and when she saw that there was a meal on her desk, she immediately rushed to the bathroom to brush her teeth and wash her face. When she came out, she took out a pair of disposable chopsticks and started wolfing down the food. Damn, this, Kill Lu Bu and F** CK Diao Chan, sure is stubborn. To think that he would post another thread to blacken Yao Yao. I saw it too. What do you mean by saying that Yao Yao is inferior to Qiniran? Lin Jiej's eye of discernment isn't good enough. The photos that Qiniran posted were all photoshopped while Yao Yao's photos were all taken with a phone's camera, so the quality of the photos was greatly reduced. Even if they were posted on the forum, they wouldn't look ugly at all. What do you mean by Qiniran is older than Yao Yao by 3 years and looks younger than Yao Yao? You're lying through your teeth. Why does Yao Yao look like an auntie? Damn, I can smell the stench of jealousy through the screen. Yao Yao, can you stop eating? Take care of yourself. Even if you don't feel sorry for yourself, I feel sorry for you. Wait a moment, Shuyao replied before turning her gaze back to her food. After she was done eating, she tossed the boxed lunch into the trash can and wiped the table clean. After which, she picked up her phone and logged into the school forum. She quickly scanned through the thread that her roommates had been talking about, and most of the replies were saying that she was inferior to Qiniran and that Lin Jiej's eye of discernment was terrible. Of course, some of the comments were even more outrageous, such as saying that her photos could ward off evil and how Lin Jiej could kiss such an ugly face. Seeing that Shi Yao was browsing through the forum, Tian immediately walked up to her and said, "Yao Yao, did you see it? Those people are too much. I can't take it anymore." Chapter 125. Shi Yao glanced at Tian and replied, "No one's forcing me to tolerate it." Tian didn't quite understand Shi Yao's words. What? As Shi Yao switched on her laptop, she slowly replied, "I meant exactly what I said. Didn't you say that you couldn't tolerate it anymore? Actually, no one's forcing me to tolerate it." Shi Yao keyed in her password and said, "Since you can't tolerate it anymore, you shouldn't tolerate it anymore. Wait. Hearing Shi Yao's words, Jiang Yu rushed over and said, "I don't quite understand what you're saying. If you can't tolerate it anymore, you shouldn't tolerate it anymore. But the question is, why don't you tolerate it anymore? Could it be that you found out who Slaughter Lu Bu Bang Jiao Chan is, so you're going to beat him up?" "That's right." Shi Yao nodded as she accepted the gift earnestly. Tian, nanny. Jiang Yu, what? Ling Wan, Yao, you must be joking, right? I'm not. I really know who Slaughter Lu Bu Bang Jiao Chan is. Shi Yao said as she clicked on the mouse, and a series of screenshots appeared. "This is the result of my sleepless night. I dug out all of her previous and current posts. Take a look. This is her previous username, Chini ran the campus bell, I won't tolerate rebuttals. This is her previous username, I'm the goddess, I'm afraid of no one. This is her previous username." Facing her roommates who were staring at her computer screen with their mouths agape, Shi Yao's expression didn't change much. Instead, she swiftly tapped on the screenshots and said, "This is the username she used when she first registered for the forum, beautifully ran. Take a look at her profile picture. Ling Wan was the first to speak up, isn't that Chini ran?" Shi Yao wasn't in a hurry to respond to Ling Wan's question. Instead, she took out 2 more screenshots and said, "Take a look at this. This is Chini Ran's QQ ID that I found from the school forum. This is her QQ space, and this message was automatically shared to talk about when she registered for the school forum. So, I'm certain that Slaughter Lu Bu and F*CK Jiao Chan is Chini Ran. When she first registered for the school forum, she used her QQ account to log in, so all of her information was synced with her QQ account. These are all the posts that Chini Ran has made over the past few years, as well as her replies. Take a look at this. When she was in year 1, there was a female senior who competed with her for the position of campus belle, and she scolded the other party. Take a look at this. 2 years ago, there was a female student who planned the event together with Lin Jiej, and Chini Ran said that the other party was ugly. Take a look at this. Not too long ago, Ling Wan competed with her for the position of campus belle, and Ling Wan nearly overtook her. After showing all of the screenshots to her roommates, Shi Yao turned around to face them and said, "Just like what Jiang Yu said earlier, I was intending to take these screenshots to look for Chini Ran. Of course, I didn't intend to beat her up, I just wanted her to delete her posts. However, I don't think that there's a need for that now. Since she's so insistent on causing a ruckus, I'll just have to return the favor." The dormitory room fell silent. No one spoke a word. Shi Yao blinked her eyes as she stared at her 3 roommates who had been staring at her silently. Perplexed, she asked, "What are you all doing? Why are you staring at me instead of saying anything?" Ling Wan was the first to snap out of her daze, and she shot Shi Yao a thumbs up. Chapter 126. Jiang Yu also came back to her senses. As if she had seen some kind of bizarre creature, she stared at Shi Yao from head to toe for a while before asking weakly, "Are you Shi Yao?" Shuyao picked up her student ID from the table and asked, "Do you want to verify it?" He Tian was the last one to recover from her shock. She snatched Shuryao's student ID away and stared at the identical face on the ID for a long while before exclaiming, "Yao Yao, it turns out that you're not only good at eating. I'm the best at eating, and I'm not only good at eating." After replying to He Tian, Shuryao shot a glance at her three roommates, and when she saw the lingering shock in their eyes, she couldn't help but mutter in her heart, "This is really weird. I didn't do anything at all, so why are they making such a big fuss about it?" This was especially so for He Tian. Her tone when she said, "Yao Yao, it turns out that you're not only good at eating," made her feel a sense of gratification, as if she had a daughter growing up in her family. Perplexed, Shuryao tapped into the school forum to register an account. When she was done, she tilted her head to the side and put on a bitter expression as she tried to think of a username. At that moment, the three roommates behind her finally came to their senses. "I've always thought that my Yao is a bronze. To think that she's actually a hidden challenger king. I suddenly feel that my Yao's image in my heart has changed from a cute chibi character to a mesmerizing young lady. In the past, I only dared to ask my Yao for help when buying food. But now, I finally realize how short-sighted I was back then." Jiang Yu noticed that Shuryao's computer was on the school forum, so she walked over and asked, "Yao Yao, what are you doing?" "I'm registering an account," Shuryao replied. Then, she paused for a moment before adding, "But I don't know what username I should use." He Tian, isn't that simple? Lotus Leaf He Tian, ancient and cultured. Jiang Yu, tisk, it's not as good as I love Li Feng. Ling Wan, are the two of you dumb? It won't take long for the entire school to know who you are if you use your own WeChat ID. Jiang Yu, then. Li Feng loved JY, and JY is Jiang Yu. He Tian, you shameless fellow. Why don't you call yourself OHTT? Lotus Leaf He Tian, there's no need to argue anymore. Yao Yao has already come up with a name. As Ling Wan spoke, she leaned closer to Shuryao's computer screen and moved her lips once more. Pan-fried pot stickers, xiaolongbao, lobster ramen, and barbecue. Jiang Yu and He Tian fell silent for 3 seconds before looking at one another and nodding their heads. As if telepathically connecting their minds, they said, "That's very Shuryao." While they were speaking, Shuryao's fingers were already furiously tapping on the keyboard. G University's campus belle Qin Iran is dreaming of killing Lu Bu and F** King Diao Chan. Pfft, Yao Yao, your title is perfect. Jiang Yu couldn't help but burst into laughter. It's not just amazing, it's absolutely amazing. While He Tian was speaking, Shuryao had already typed out the main body of the post. Who would have thought that G University's campus belle, Qin Iran, would dream of killing Lu Bu and F** Diao Chan? Let's not waste any more time and get straight to the picture, Ling Wan, this trope has really been overused. First, it was Lin Jiej who used it, and now it's Yao Yao. Ha ha ha, is everyone going to start their posts with this in the future? Chapter 127. After uploading a series of screenshots, she continued typing on her keyboard. "First of all, I would like to make it clear that I have no intention of digging into the Lu Bu F** Diao Chan account. I just happened to stumble upon it yesterday, and I can only blame the account owner for being too careless. She thought that no one would be able to find out who she is just by changing her name, but she neglected one important point. If someone were to reply to her name on the forum, her account name wouldn't change along with the system's name change. Thus, the screenshots above can prove that the account owner of the Lu Bu F** Diao Chan account is campus belle Qin Iran. Shuryao intentionally enlarged and bolded her words, changing them into a striking red font. Here, I would like to emphasize that I have no intention of targeting campus belle Chini Ran. I'm just trying to ridicule the cold and aloof campus belle Chini Ran. Despite her otherworldly appearance, she actually has such a heavy taste, and the names she comes up with are truly indescribable. For example, Lubu F** CK Diao Chan, Chini Ran is the campus belle, I'm the goddess, I'm afraid of nothing. After typing in the ellipsis, Shuryao double-checked the words she had typed to ensure that there weren't any typos before tapping on the publish button. Yao Yao, did you forget something? Why did you only expose Chini Ran's name before publishing the post? Did you forget about Chini Ran's attacks on others on the forum? Post it all at once. He Tian exclaimed anxiously. Of course I didn't forget about it, but now isn't the time to publish it yet. Let's wait for this post to ferment and let Chini Ran know what it's like to be on tenterhooks. After that, I'll publish the second post at night. As Shuryao spoke, she began to edit the title of the second post, G University's Campus Belle Chini Ran's Unspeakable Secrets. I really didn't expect G University's Campus Belle Chini Ran to be a keyboard warrior. Let's cut to the chase and get straight to the pictures, after which, Shuryao uploaded all the screenshots of Chini Ran's attacks over the years. After which, she turned to her 3 roommates behind her and explained. When this thread comes out, Chini Ran's public image will surely crumble. Think about it, the school forum is at its most active at night, and there'll surely be many people who will follow the trend to dig into Chini Ran's past. Those who have been scolded and attacked by her in the past won't sit idly by either. They'll surely put on their own identities and tear her apart. What's the saying again? That will be the most painful moment for Chini Ran. I'll definitely make Chini Ran pay for all the hard work I've done last night. After listening to Shuryao's lengthy explanation, he Tian bowed deeply to Shuryao and said, Yao, there's only one word I want to say to you right now, I'm convinced. I'm convinced from the bottom of my heart. I've always thought that you're a glug, but who could have thought that you're actually a black-bellied glug. As Jiangyu spoke, she rushed up to Shuryao and hugged her tightly. What should I do? Yao, I suddenly feel like I love you so much. I want to marry you. Ling Wan, now that you mention it, I suddenly feel like Chini Ran is nothing more than a piece of paper in front of you. Chapter 128. He Tian, aw. Yao, isn't that enough for you to retaliate? Jiangyu, that's right. Yao, Chini Ran is definitely done for. Whether she dies or not has nothing to do with me. All I know is that she provoked me, saying that I'm not good-looking and that my photos can ward off evil spirits. I don't get into fights with others easily, but since I've already done so, I should settle the matter once and for all. Dragging things out isn't my style. As Shuryao spoke, she picked up the mirror on the table and tidied up her hair. After which, she stood up and looked around the dormitory room. After finding a spot with better lighting, she turned to Ling Wan and said, Wan, help me take a photo. He Tian couldn't keep up with Shuryao's train of thought. Why do you want to take a photo? To post it on the school forum, of course, Shuryao replied matter-of-factly. Jiangyu nodded in realization. That's right. As long as you take a beautiful photo and post it on the school forum, those posts saying that you're not as good-looking as Chini Ran will naturally fall apart. But, Yao, you should put on some makeup and find a pretty dress before taking the photo, there's no need for that. Shuryao waved her hand. She lowered her head to look at the simple t-shirt and jeans she was wearing and said. This is fine. It's too troublesome to put on makeup and change clothes. I'd rather eat 2 ham sausages. Shuryao paused for a moment before continuing, besides, there's no need for me to go through the trouble of dressing up just to deal with Chini Ran. That's true. To deal with Qin Iran's highly distorted photoshopped photos, the simplest and plainest photo is the most effective. He Tian nodded in agreement. Jiangyu, what are we waiting for then? Nguyen, hurry up and take a photo for Yao Yao. Last night, after posting the thread on the school forum, Lin Jiej didn't sleep for the entire night. He couldn't tell what he was feeling right now. He felt a little angry, but there was also an indescribable heartache. He sat in front of his computer for most of the night, and countless thoughts regarding her surfaced in his chaotic mind. Did she see the comments on the forum? Was she upset? Was she asleep at this hour? These complicated thoughts lingered in his mind all the way until 5 in the morning before he finally snapped out of it. He stretched his stiff body and stood up from his chair. Liu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou were sleeping soundly on the same bed. Lin Jiej made a quick trip to the bathroom, and when he came out, he lay on his bed and stared at the ceiling of the dormitory room with his eyes wide open. He couldn't even remember how many times he had thought about her in his mind, and it was only then that he succumbed to drowsiness and fell asleep. When he woke up, it was already noon. He climbed out of bed and went to the bathroom to take a shower. As he dried his hair with a towel, he opened the computer that hadn't been switched on since last night and glanced at the school forum. His post was the first one. The second was a new post by Kill Lu Bu and Fuck Diao Chan. The title was School Hunk Lin's Taste is Really Hard to Accept. Casually tapping into the thread, Zhang Xian saw that all of them were praising Qin Iran for being an unparalleled beauty while belittling Shi Yao for being so ugly that it was beyond description. You must be joking. Soft Bun is ugly, and Qin Iran is beautiful. They probably didn't even know how to write the word beautiful, right? Even if Qin Iran were to be stacked 10 times, she still wouldn't be able to match up to a single toe of Soft Bun's. Chapter 129. With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej exited the school forum and sat in front of his computer. Yawning, he lazily typed on the keyboard. There were some things that one wouldn't know if one didn't look into it, but once one did, one would be surprised. When he obtained the IP address of Slaughter Lu Bu Fuck Diao Chan, and hacked into the school network, he found the coordinates of the IP address and found out who the mastermind was. He was a little surprised. Following which, he realized that there were quite a few active sock puppets on the forum that originated from that IP address, such as, Tearing Apart Green Tea Bitch, Why Become a Chicken, This Is Getting Interesting. To think that the campus belle Qin Iran, who was pursued by all the male students in the school, would actually be a veteran forum user. It's one thing for her to be a forum user, but to think that she would use so many shameful sock puppets to slander others. But that didn't seem to be the most shocking thing. Lin Jiej tapped on the keyboard as he browsed through the thread. When he reached the end of the thread, he shook his head and clicked his tongue 3 times. This campus belle sure is weird. It's just a random poll on the forum, and she actually wants to vote for her. It's no wonder why she's able to win the title of campus belle every year. In the end, she's actually crowning herself as the campus belle. If this matter were to be made public, there would really be a good show to watch. Lin Jiej's fingers tapped on the keyboard in a seemingly random manner, and the clicking sound of a screenshot echoed. Following which, he switched back to the school forum. He was just about to register an alternate account to share his findings when a new thread suddenly popped up. G University's campus belle Qin Iran fantasizes Lu Bu Fuck Diao Chan. Yo, this title sure has some talent. Who could it be? Lin Jiej subconsciously tapped on it and took a look at the poster. Pan-fried pot stickers, Silong Bao, lobster ramen and barbecue. Suppressing the urge to spurt blood, Lin Jiej went to check the IP address of the poster. Before the results came out, Lin Jiej had already vaguely guessed who it was, but he found it hard to believe. However, the results proved that it was indeed Shi Yao's IP address. So, Soft Bun isn't a soft bun that anyone can bully, but a soft bun who knows how to fight back. It seems like my worries last night were a little unnecessary. With such thoughts in mind, Lin Jiej returned to the school forum and browsed through Shi Yao's post. Who would have thought that G University's campus belle Qin Ran would dream of killing Lu Bu and F***ck Diao Chan? Let's cut to the chase and get straight to the picture. Not bad. Soft Bun's ability to learn on the spot isn't too bad. Lin Jiej scrolled through the screenshots carefully, and the more he looked at them, the more astonished he became. It wasn't until he finished reading the 3 paragraphs of text at the end of the screenshots that his lips slowly crept up. The little fiancée that his grandfather had arranged for him was not bad. She actually hid so many secrets that surprised him. Since Soft Bun had already uncovered the identity of Qin Iran, there was no need for him to register a new account to post anymore. However, he still had to add fuel to the fire. With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej turned around and called out to the sleeping Lu Benlai, "Do you want to go to Golden Resplendence?" As soon as Lin Jiej said those words, the two of them immediately sat up and replied in unison, "Yes." Chapter 130. Lin Jiej tapped on the computer screen and said leisurely, "Register an account on the school forum and upvote a thread. Once we're back at Golden Resplendence, we'll take you to the skies." "Alright, Daddy. Don't worry, I'm the best at upvoting posts." Xie Shangzhou leaped off his bed and rushed into the bathroom to wash up. Lu Benlai followed suit. Soon, the two of them came out and sat down in front of their respective computers. "Boss, send me the thread." Lin Jiej pasted and copied the thread before tossing it to the two of them. Xie Shangzhou took a look at the thread and asked, "Boss, did you post this thread?" Lin Jiej couldn't get enough of Shi Yao's thread. "No, it's that year 1 junior who's been rumored to have a relationship with me." "Oh, so it's my mom," Lu Benlai said as he registered an account. "All the more reason for me to upvote it. So it's my mom." Those 5 words made Lin Jiej's heart burst with joy. "I'll take you to Golden Resplendence for 2 nights. Xie Shangzhou glared at Lu Benlai before turning to Lin Jiej pitifully. "Why are you taking him there for 2 nights? Boss, you're biased, you're unfair, you love little Lilai, not." At this point, Xie Shangzhou seemed to have thought of something and immediately corrected himself. "Daddy, don't worry, I'll open 3,000 alternate accounts to upvote my mom's thread." Lin Jiej, 2 nights. Deal. Xie Shangzhou said as he stopped typing on the keyboard. A moment later, he started typing once more. "Little Lilai, what name did you give yourself? Isn't my name awesome? I have a harem of 3,000 beauties." Lu Benlai, "Me. My name is Earth Needed by Bro." Hugging a family bucket, Shi Yao munched on it while paying attention to the happenings on the school forum. Accompanying her were her 3 roommates. Of them, He Tian and Jiang Yu were the noisiest, chattering non-stop. "There's actually someone trying to clear Qin Iran's name, saying that it's just a name, what's the big deal about it? But there are also many people flaming her, saying that she's pretending to be virtuous and that their worldview has been shattered by the name she came up with. Especially this guy with a harem of 3,000 beauties." His reply isn't very classic. "Campus belle, wake up. You don't have a big bird. You can kill Lu Bu, but you can't F***ck Diao Chan, ha ha ha. This is called, the earth was squeezed round by Big Bro." The reply is so funny. "Upstairs, you've typed wrongly. It's not campus belle, it's a joke." Hearing those words, Lin Yuan couldn't help but burst into laughter. Then, she turned to Shi Yao, who was munching on her fried chicken, and said, "Yao Yao, it should be about time for the second thread, right? There are already people saying that Qin Iran is deleting the thread." With food still in her mouth, Shi Yao nodded her head with a before swallowing the entire fried chicken in her hand. After wiping her hands with a napkin, she switched on her laptop and posted the post she had prepared beforehand. During the day, there were people guarding the back end of the forum, and the posts were quickly reviewed. Just as Xiao had said earlier in the afternoon, the school forum was currently at its peak. In less than half an hour after the thread was published, it had already become a hot topic. I didn't think that Chiniran would use an alternate account to insult so many people. You really can't judge a book by its cover. She usually acts so elegant and kind in front of everyone, but behind their backs, she's actually such a sharp and unkind existence. Chapter 131. It turns out that Campus Belle Chin, oh no, Campus Farce Chin, has more than one sock puppet, tearing apart green tea bitch. Why did you become a chicken? I want to sleep with Lin Jiej. Chiniran, I love you. I know that you all want proof. Beg me, I. Even if you don't beg me, I'll still show it to you. My hands are itching, so I logged into the school's network to check the IP address of Slaughter Lubu Bangdiao Chan, and I found the following screenshots. He Tian, who was more concerned about, the earth was molded round by Big Bro, and, I have a harem of 3,000 beauties, was the first to comment. The heck? I thought that the earth was molded round by Big Bro was an idiot, but it turns out that he's actually a hidden computer expert. Jiangyu, that's not the main point, alright? The main point is that the screenshots that Bro Earth posted are way too explosive. Chiniran actually has so many sock puppets under her name. I'm afraid that 5 out of the top 10 sock puppets on the forum are her. I know, right? The one who exposed Yao Yao's information is this tearing apart the green tea bitch, and the one who said that Yao Yao was playing around with 2 people is why did you act like a chicken if you knew that would happen? That's why the thread that slandered Yao Yao was created by Chiniran. Compared to He Tian and Jiangyu, Ling Wan had always been the more rational one. Bro Earth is an ally, so his exposure is a timely rain. Everything is Chiniran's sock puppet, and Yao Yao's main thread exposed the screenshots of her slandering many of her alumni. Yao Yao doesn't even need to do anything, and everyone will think that Yao Yao has been slandered by Chiniran. On the other hand, Chiniran's reputation is going to be completely ruined. She deserves it. Does she think that she doesn't have to pay a price just because she's talking through the internet? That's just because it's not the right time yet. I hate people like her the most. Calling her a keyboard warrior is no different from insulting the keyboard. She's a maggot of the internet. Jiang Yu had always been a person who was always on the right, so she didn't hold back at all. Wow, it's really like what Nguyen said. After the people on the forum saw Brother Earth's revelation, they completely blew up. As He Tian scrolled through the forums, she picked out the classic replies and read them out loud. The heck, Campus Farce Chin must have a split personality. In the end, Shi Yao's post was all fabricated by her. But come to think of it, she's really scary. To think that she would stalk Shi Yao for so long, take these photos, and then post them on the forums to slander Shi Yao. Mommy, save me. I'm so scared. Oh my god, what a great show. I'm afraid this is going to be recorded in G University's history. Chiniran sure is shameless. To think that she would open up a sock puppet and say that I want to sleep with Lin Jiej. Has she gone mad from yearning for men? I've seen narcissistic people, but I've never seen someone as narcissistic as you. Chiniran, I love you, and you love yourself. You're probably just being narcissistic. I'm sorry to start a dirty joke, everyone, please pretend that you didn't see anything. In the past, I didn't dare to say anything on the forum because I knew that if I were to say anything bad about Campus Farce Chin, I'd be attacked from all sides. But now, I can say it boldly. Previously, there was a person who was in charge of the New Year's Eve gala with Lin Jiej. Campus Farshin went to look for the other party and asked the other party to give up their position so that she and Lin Jiej could be in charge of the New Year's Eve gala. However, the other party rejected her, and in the end, Campus Farshin went to seduce the other party's boyfriend and forcefully broke them up. Previous poster, I'm the same as you. I didn't dare to expose her either. Chapter 132. Seeing that she had achieved the effect she wanted, Shiryao stretched her back lazily and yawned. Now, it's time to wrap things up. After everyone is done scolding Chiniran, we'll be able to post the third thread, my photo. Stop, stop, stop. The person who called me, I have a harem of 3,000 beauties, also replied and revealed an even bigger piece of information. He Tian read aloud agitatedly. This humble student is also untalented, but my hands were itching for a fight, so I went to the campus to browse the internet as well. Then, I discovered an even more frightening situation. I have 3,000 Smurfs, and no one dares to challenge me. Faced with Farshin's powerful troll army, I admit defeat, sob sob sob. At this point, he Tian paused. She stared at her phone intently for a moment before widening her eyes and exclaiming, "Holy shit. I've uploaded a screenshot of the Emperor's harem of 3,000 beauties. It's a screenshot of Chiniran cheating during the campus bell selection. I saw it. I didn't expect that my harem of 3,000 beauties was also a godly assist." Jiang Yu nodded as she began reading through the replies. Chiniran is being criticized so badly. They say that she's a hypocrite and pretentious. All in all the words that didn't belong to her before have become synonymous with her. At this moment, in room 501 of the male dormitory, Lu Benlai stared at a photo that he had saved on the forum, and a look of infatuation surfaced on his face. It's the girl I said the other day that if I were to meet her again, I'd woo her. Her name is Ling Wan, and she's in the same dorm as Boss Little Jr. Damn it, Campus Farshin actually dared to insult my future girlfriend. Xie Shangzhou sighed faintly. Why am I always the one who gets hurt? Your goddess is still your goddess, but my goddess has become my mother. Leaning against the back of his chair, Lin Jiej's body swayed slightly. He happened to be drinking a mouthful of water, and upon hearing Xie Shangzhou's words, he nearly choked on it. He pretended to be calm and composed. After swallowing all the water, he picked up the package he had just received and tossed it to Xie Shangzhou. This is to compensate you. What is it, boss? Xie Shangzhou glanced at the box, which had a certain company's logo on it. Lin Jiej didn't say a word. He looked as if he wouldn't open it to take a look himself. Xie Shangzhou took out the key and opened the box, only to see a brand new phone inside. It was the same brand as the one Lin Jiej had destroyed yesterday, but it was the latest model. Boss, the reason why I call you my goddess is because you're my Adonis. Lu Benlai stared enviously at Xie Shangzhou, who was happily activating his new phone, before turning to Lin Jiej and asking, Boss, are you in a good mood? If it's not good, little Lilai's phone is shouting at you, please smash me hard, please smash me hard. Fall your head. Fall. Lin Jiej moved his mouse around and swiftly browsed through the forum. After which, he sent the two photos over to Lu Benlai and said, start a new thread. Let's name it Shiryao PK Chiniran. Who's the winner? Yes, boss. After receiving the photos, Lu Benlai was stunned for a moment before asking, Boss, where did you get these two ID photos of Farshin and Little Jr.? Lin Jiej stared at Shiryao's identification photo on his computer screen as he replied nonchalantly, I was bored earlier, so I hacked into the school's database and stole it. Chapter 133. To others, this might have been a bolt of lightning, but to Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou, who knew Lin Jiej very well, it was no different from, "What are we having for dinner tonight?" a question that couldn't be any more normal. Lu Benlai replied calmly with an "oh" before following Lin Jiej's instructions. Soon, Lu Benlai received a notification from the forum that his post had been approved. He quickly refreshed the main page of the forum, and on top of the Shiryao PK Chiniran, who wins post, there was another new post, spectating Shiryao's barefaced photo. Lu Benlai took a closer look at the poster: pan-fried pot stickers, xiaolongbao, lobster ramen and barbecue. Isn't this the little junior who's rumored to be with our boss? His post time was 21:47, and hers was 21:48. Noticing this, Lu Benlai couldn't help but comment, "Boss, not bad. That little junior of yours sure is something." A minute after I posted, she also posted a new post. "She's actually able to keep up with your train of thought." What? What? Hearing those words, Xie Shangzhou put down his phone and went to browse through the forum. After reading through the two posts that Lu Benlai had mentioned, he couldn't help but comment, "That's really telepathic." Even though little junior isn't as ruthless as our boss, posting a photo that looks like it's taken by her roommate without makeup is still a smart move. In the instant that Lu Benlai saw the post, Lin Jiej also saw Shiryao's post. Facing Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou's compliments, he replied nonchalantly with a "smart move," but his eyes were brimming with pride. "I suddenly feel sorry for Chiniran. It's one thing for her to be targeted by a little demon like little junior, but to have a big demon like our boss stab her in the back as well. TSK, Chiniran is really helpless against the two of them." Lu Benlai shook his head and sighed. "Xie Shangzhou, helpless. That's not all. It's a terrible sight to behold. But if our boss says that he didn't communicate with little junior beforehand, I really don't believe it. One of them is attacking beautifully while the other is supplementing the other. It's clear that only a husband and wife who have a deep understanding of each other would be able to pull off such a flawless teamwork." Sigh, poor Chiniran. Lin Jiej cleared his throat with a voice that was neither too soft nor too heavy. However, Lu Benlai and Xie Shangzhou, who were in the midst of pitying Chiniran, suddenly shuddered. In the next second, they immediately changed their words. "Chiniran deserves it. She asked for it. She should have gone easy on her. I have to reply 2 more posts to scold her." A moment later, Lu Benlai suddenly thought of something and paused. Chiniran has a sock puppet called Slay Lu Bu Bang Diao Chan. Does that mean that little junior is Lu Bu and boss is Diao Chan? Xie Shangzhou pinched his thumb and middle finger together and said a line from Diao Chan from Kings of Glory in a very cooperative and thin voice, "You're staring at me so directly, it's so embarrassing." Lu Benlai casually grabbed a piece of tissue paper and used it as a handkerchief. Waving his hand seductively, he shot a coquettish glance at Xie Shangzhou before adding, "Receiving too many love letters is also a form of frustration." Lunatic. Chapter 134. Brother Earth's post is about Yao Yao PK Chiniran, and Yao Yao completely crushed Chiniran. Jiang Yu quickly scanned through the replies and commented. "Who do you think this Brother Earth is? Why does he have the same thoughts as Yao Yao? It's just that Brother Earth is even more ruthless than Yao Yao." He posted an ID photo of Yao Yao and Chiniran. You should know that ID photos can make a person look uglier by many folds, but Yao Yao's ID photo is so beautiful that I couldn't even recognize Chiniran's ID photo. Brother Earth is really too vicious, but I like it. Ha ha ha. Tian couldn't help but laugh out loud as she rolled around on her bed. Jiang Yu, regardless, the matter has been resolved perfectly. However, I'm still curious about how Chiniran is looking at the moment. Is she crying? I wonder how her roommates will view her now. If I were in her shoes, I'd probably be too ashamed to face anyone after all the dirty deeds I've done. Now that you mention it, I'm curious as well. However, what I'm more curious about is, as she spoke, Tian turned to Shi Yao and asked, Yao Yao, what's going on between you and school Adonis Lin? Hearing Tian's words, Jiang Yu also recalled the matter and said, that's right. Yao Yao, it's time for you to come clean. I won't believe you if you say that there's nothing going on between you and Lin Jiej. Ling Wan happened to be washing an apple for Shi Yao when she heard Jiang Yu and Tian's words. She shook the apple in her hand and said with a smile, Yao Yao, you'll be lenient if you come clean, but you'll be severely punished if you refuse. Shi Yao stared at the apple with a conflicted look in her eyes. After a long struggle, she eventually succumbed to the temptation and chose to come clean. After hearing her explanation, the three of them stared at Shi Yao with a who are you trying to fool? Look on their faces. Eventually, Tian spoke up, Yao Yao, I didn't think that you had the potential to be an author. Child betrothal. To think that you would be able to come up with something like that. Jiang Yu, even if it's a child betrothal, Yao Yao, can't you be a little more careful with your story? You want to annul the engagement. You're wrong, aren't you? Lin Jiej is the one who wants to annul the engagement. Ling Wan, Lin Jiej's grandfather happened to be sick, so you didn't annul the engagement immediately. As the saying goes, there's no such thing as a story without coincidences. Yao Yao, I'll give you 100 points for your storytelling ability. Tian, we kissed Lin Jiej while we were playing a game. What kind of game is that? Give me 100 times. What was wrong with this world? Why was it that no one believed her when she told the truth? Shi Yao stretched her hand toward the apple in Ling Wan's hand, but seeing that Ling Wan was still unwilling to give it to her, she could only raise her hand and swear, I swear that everything I've said is the truth. If there's even a single lie in my words, I'll starve to death. Jiang Yu, for a foodie, starving to death is the biggest curse for her. It seems like it's true. Nuan, give her the apple. I want some time alone. Tian, this world is so fantastical. I also need some peace and quiet. Ling Wan passed the apple back to Shi Yao. Even though she didn't say a word, it was clear from her expression that she wanted some peace and quiet as well. Shi Yao took the apple, and barely after she took a bite, her three roommates suddenly started chattering among themselves, my God, a child betrothal? Why is Yao Yao so lucky? Why didn't my grandfather arrange a child betrothal for me? TSK, who was the one who said that even my Adonis wouldn't be able to tolerate it? Between my Adonis and Yao Yao, I'm going to choose Yao Yao. It's all plastic sisterhood. With such thoughts in mind, Shi Yao took another bite of the apple. Chapter 135. It was only at midnight that the dormitory room finally quietened down. Perhaps it was because she had experienced too many things today, but Shi Yao didn't feel sleepy at all. She closed her eyes and lay down for a while. Eventually, she picked up her phone, searched for Lin Jiej's name, and sent him a message, Are you asleep? After sending the message over, Shi Yao suddenly realized that there was something indescribably weird about the words she had just sent over. Their relationship didn't seem so polite that they would ask each other whether they were asleep or not. Based on her current understanding of Lin Jiej, he probably wouldn't reply to her message at all. With this thought in mind, Shi Yao typed a few more times on the keyboard. But before she could finish typing, a new message popped up on her screen. Lin Jiej, nope. Ah. Her understanding of the world had actually been slapped. Shi Yao secretly touched her face, and just as she was about to type out another message popped up on her screen. Lin Jiej, what's wrong? Not to mention, it was one thing to be slapped in the face, but it still hurt a little. Yao touched her face once more before completing her half-typed message and sending it over to Lin Jiej. There's something I'd like to explain to you. Lin Jiej instantly replied, ? That's a very Lin Jiej reply. Yao didn't think that there was anything wrong with it, so she focused on typing. But halfway through, Lin Jiej sent another message. What's the matter? Yao paused her typing. Looking at the 2 consecutive messages from Lin Jiej, she felt a little overwhelmed by the favor. This reply was very unlike Lin Jiej. When had he ever been so proactive in replying to her messages? Unless it was something very important that he had to say, he would never say another word to her unless it was absolutely necessary. Yao looked through her chat history with Lin Jiej, and the more she looked at it, the more she felt that something was amiss. Could it be that the person on the other end wasn't Lin Jiej at all? With such thoughts in mind, Yao deleted the words she had typed earlier and sent a new message. May I know if you are Lin Jiej? Lin Jiej was lying on his bed at 11:30. Just as he was about to doze off, the phone that he had set to silence suddenly lit up by his ear. Having his drowsiness disturbed, he picked up his phone in displeasure and took a look at the screen. Are you asleep? It was a message from Soft Bun. It was just 3 simple words, but it made him feel a little ambiguous in the middle of the night. His sleepiness instantly disappeared. He raised his phone and typed no back to her. After a pause, he added, What's wrong? Soft Bun replied swiftly, There's something I'd like to explain to you. Lin Jiej habitually replied with a ? Then he felt that such a reply was too indifferent, so he added, What's the matter? He was no longer sleepy and felt a little thirsty, so he got off the bed quietly. Just as he steadied himself, another message came in. Excuse me, are you Lin Jiej? If he wasn't Lin Jiej, how could he possibly be Lin? With one hand on the keyboard, Lin Jiej poured himself a glass of water and asked, What do you think? After the message was sent, it took a while for her to reply to his message. Lin Jiej, who was in the midst of drinking water, unlocked the screen and took a look. Yao only sent 2 words over, Grandpa. Grandpa. Lin Jiej choked on his saliva. Chapter 136. Yao really didn't think that the person on the other end of the line was Lin Jiej. However, considering that her phone was a personal possession, it was unlikely for it to fall into the hands of an outsider. Thus, when she saw the words, What do you think?, the first thought that popped up in her mind was Grandpa Lin. Perhaps Lin Jiej wasn't with his phone, and Grandpa Lin saw her message and was just teasing her. Yao wanted to send a Grandpa, but she accidentally tapped on the question mark and sent the message instead. When she realized her mistake, she quickly tried to explain herself. However, barely after she typed, Your Grandpa Lin, her phone suddenly rang. It was Lin Jiej's phone number. Afraid that she would disturb her roommate's rest, Yao quietly climbed out of her bed and walked out of the dormitory room before answering the call. As soon as she raised her phone to her ear, Lin Jiej's voice sounded from the other end, Who's your grandpa? Yao's hand trembled, and she nearly dropped her phone. I'm only 2 years older than you. How am I old enough to be your grandpa? It turned out that the person who sent her the message wasn't Grandpa Lin. Yao hurriedly apologized, sorry. I thought that it was Grandpa Lin. Grandpa Lin's phone number is. Lin Jiej recited a series of numbers. Yao was rendered speechless by his words. With a reddened face, she fell silent for a moment before replying softly, I didn't do it on purpose. I just thought that the message didn't seem to be from you. After all, you're usually so arrogant and aloof, acting as if everyone owes you 200 renminbi. That's why I thought that it was from Grandpa Lin. If you think that you owe me 200 renminbi, give me 200 renminbi then. Yao was once again rendered speechless by Lin Jiej. After roughly 30 seconds of silence, Lin Jiej cleared his throat and spoke with a much gentler tone than before. I'm just joking with you. Your joke sure isn't funny. Shi Yao could only mutter in her heart. On the other end of the line, Lin Jiej was silent for a moment before speaking up once more. Didn't you say that you have something to explain to me? What is it? It was only then that Shi Yao recalled the matter at hand, and she hurriedly said, my roommates found out that we're engaged. Oh. What does that mean? Does that mean he's unhappy? After all, he had once told her not to mention him to others. Shi Yao pondered for a moment before speaking honestly. I couldn't hide it anymore. After you posted that thread, my roommates kept asking me about it, and they really went overboard. They refused to give me an apple to eat, so I couldn't help but spill the beans. Sigh, she couldn't do anything about it. When it came to delicacies, she never had any resistance. So, after she ate the apple, she started to feel uneasy and came to him to explain. With such thoughts in mind, Shi Yao continued confidently. But don't worry, only my roommates know about this matter. Besides, I've told them many times to keep it a secret, so other than the three of them, no one else will hear your name from my mouth. She said so much, but he didn't make a single sound. In the end, Shi Yao didn't know how she should explain herself anymore, so she fell silent. Silence lingered around the two of them for a very long time before Shi Yao finally couldn't stand it any longer, so she spoke up once more. Are you unhappy? I'm sorry. Chapter 137. There was still silence on the other end of the phone. Shi Yao felt more and more uneasy. Just as she was contemplating whether she should apologize or not, a sigh suddenly sounded from the other end of the phone. Shi Yao froze. Lin Jiej isn't angry but sad. But what is he sad about? Soon, Lin Jiej's voice sounded in her ear, and it was no different from his usual tone. Do you like apples the most? Ah. Did I hear wrongly? Shi Yao was silent for a moment before replying, no, it's just that apples are the only fruits in the dormitory. What do you like to eat the most then? Fruits. Passion fruit, loquat, watermelon, pineapple, pomegranate. What about the rest? For example, snacks. Oh, I like to eat potato chips, roast duck, milk tea. Shi Yao rattled off a long list of her favorite foods, and at the very end, she added, but my favorite is ice cream, especially the vanilla-flavored one. Ice cream. That's right. Shi Yao paused for a moment before asking. Do you like ice cream too? No, I have a friend who loves it. You two are quite similar when it comes to food. Oh. The windows of the dormitory room weren't closed, so a cold night breeze blew in. Shi Yao, who was only wearing her pajamas, couldn't help but shiver. Her initial question of, who is your friend, froze at the tip of her lips. On the other end of the phone, Lin Jiej noticed the abnormality and asked, are you outside? Yeah, my roommates are asleep. I'm afraid that I'll wake them up, Shi Yao replied with a trembling voice. Lin Jiej replied with a single word. Shi Yao didn't know how she should continue. Less than 2 seconds later, Lin Jiej spoke up once more, I'll be hanging up then. Standing on the balcony, Lin Jiej wanted to say something else after saying, I'll be hanging up then, but he swallowed the words back down. He held the phone in his hand silently for a moment before he heard her soft voice on the other end, goodbye. Without replying, he lowered the phone from his ear and hung up. He wasn't in a hurry to return to the dorm. Instead, he stood on the balcony and enjoyed the cold wind for a while. Then, he raised his hand in frustration and scratched his head. In the end, she came to find him just to explain to him what she had told the hostel room about them. Actually, when he first heard it, he didn't think it was a big deal. In fact, when she said that she couldn't hold back because of an apple, he thought it was a little funny. However, after half a minute, he couldn't laugh anymore. So, other than the three of them, no one else will hear your name from my mouth. Recalling those words, Lin Jiej pursed his lips, and he felt even more frustrated. But he didn't seem to have the right to be annoyed. He had personally asked for these words. There was something wrong with him back then. Lin Jiej exhaled in frustration. Then, the phone in his hand lit up once more. Shuyao, right, I forgot something. Shuyao, thank you. Shuyao, it's about the forum. She sent 3 messages in a row. The first part of the message was incoherent, but he understood. It was very strange. His originally unhappy mood, because of her 3 sentences, inexplicably softened. He didn't reply to her message, but he stared at the screen for a long time. Eventually, he flipped open his notebook and typed a few lines. Passion fruit, loquat, watermelon, pineapple, pomegranate. Potato chips, roasted duck, milk tea, ice cream. He paused for a moment before adding a few more words after ice cream, and the second line became potato chips, roasted duck, milk tea, ice cream, vanilla. Chapter 138. Shuyao, who had stayed up all night the previous day, couldn't stand the drowsiness any longer and fell asleep before he could reply. By the time she woke up, it was already noon. The dormitory room was very quiet. Just like her, Tian and Jiang Yu had also just woken up. On the other hand, Ling Wan had woken up at some point in time, and she had already cleaned up the dormitory room. She had also rewatered the plants by the window, and a light breeze blew in through the open window, filling the entire room with the fragrance of the gardenias that had bloomed among the plants. There was only one class today, a PE class at 3:30 p.m. After lunch, the 4 girls returned to their dormitory room and applied several layers of sunscreen before heading to the school field together. They arrived rather early, so there wasn't much people around. Thus, the 4 of them chose a shady spot to chat. Not too long later, the rest of the students in the class also rushed over. However, there were also some unfamiliar students who had rushed over as well. That's weird. If I recall correctly, our class was the only one participating in this lesson. Why is there another class here? Did another class change their schedule? Tian muttered as she looked at the crowd that had doubled in number compared to the previous physical education classes. At 3:30 p.m., a male teacher walked over and whistled, gesturing for the students to gather. Year 3 Mathematics faculty, gather on the right. Year 1 English faculty, gather on the left. This isn't our PE teacher. The students in Shuyao's class mocked and cursed silently, but they still obediently lined up. After the 2 classes were lined up, the male PE teacher spoke up. Year 1, your Wang Laosher is pregnant, so I'm afraid that she won't be able to teach you this semester. I'll be taking over her class for the time being, but due to the large number of classes, we might have to work together for the time being. Alright, let's cut to the chase. I'll start with the roll call. As the teacher spoke, he raised the roll call book and started from year 1. A full attendance rate. Not bad. After the roll call was over, the teacher praised Shuyao's class for their performance before moving on to the year 3 students. 20 names were called, but 3 of them were missed. When the 21st name was called, Shuyao's class couldn't help but burst into laughter. That name was really unique, Xie Shangzhou. Tian, who was standing behind Shuyao, leaned over and whispered in Shuyao's ear, Xie Shangzhou, I'm still called Yuan Mingqing. Xie Shangzhou didn't arrive, so the physical education teacher called out another name, Lu Benlai. Another burst of laughter sounded around Shuyao. This time, it was Jiang Yu, who was standing beside Tian, who spoke up, Lu Benlai, what a perfunctory name a mother gave her son. Before everyone's laughter could fade, the physical education teacher had already marked Liu Benlei's name with a cross, indicating that he was absent. After which, he continued calling out names, Lin Jiej. In an instant, the voices around Shiryao abruptly vanished without a trace. When no one replied, yes, the physical education teacher shouted once more, Lin Jiej. Just as the PE teacher picked up his pen and was about to cross again, a voice came from behind him. Here. Her voice was very light, like herbal tea in summer, soothing and pleasing to the ear. Everyone turned to look behind them. Dressed in a white tracksuit, Lin Jiej leisurely strolled over. There were two people behind him. One was wearing a flashy yellow tracksuit, and the other was wearing a dark blue tracksuit. Chapter 139. When the three of them approached, the man in dark blue sportswear was the first to speak. Teacher, Xie Shangzhou has arrived. Following which, the flamboyant yellow sportswear also spoke up, Liu Benlei is here too. Another burst of laughter rang out. As soon as the three of them entered the group, Shiryao's surroundings immediately burst into an uproar. My gosh, we're actually having a physical education class with Lin Jiej. From then on, I fell in love with PE class. He's so handsome in person. He looks even taller than in the photos. Another whistle sounded, and the teacher who had finished taking attendance signaled for everyone to be quiet. Alright, let's warm up first. Everyone line up and run 3 laps around the field. Amidst the rising and falling wails, everyone had a look of unwillingness on their faces. Hurry up. The PE teacher whistled again. Only then did everyone line up in a crooked line, listlessly running around the field. Perhaps it was due to her menstrual cycle, she felt a little uncomfortable after the first round. Halfway through the second round, she couldn't take it anymore, so she stopped and started walking slowly. When Shiryao passed by the rostrum, she noticed that a few of the Year 3 male students had already finished their run, and they were either leaning against the wall or squatting on the ground, chatting with one another. Lin Jiej's position was very far away, but it was also the most conspicuous. He was leaning lazily against the rostrum with his head tilted to the side, listening to the words of the flamboyant man in yellow sportswear. The dark blue sportswear was there as well. He was squatting beside the flamboyant man's bright yellow feet. No one knew what flamboyant Ming Huang said, but dark blue sportswear said something and was kicked to the ground by flamboyant Ming Huang. Upon seeing this sight, Lin Jiej chuckled softly. When Shiryao walked past the rostrum, 2 Year 3 female students who weren't jogging walked over to Lin Jiej's group with a few bottles of water in their hands. They passed the water to the boys one by one. The boy didn't refuse and accepted it with a grin. But when it reached Lin Jiej's side, as if he didn't see the bottle of water in front of him, he turned to flamboyant yellow and began speaking impassively. As he spoke, he raised his hand and wiped his forehead, which was covered in sweat from the run. This series of movements was done in an elegant and smooth manner, brimming with youth. After passing the rostrum, they walked for a distance to where the PE teacher was standing. There was a girl standing next to the PE teacher, and the two of them were talking about something. Shiryao recognized the young lady. She was Qin. Compared to her previous bright and beautiful appearance when she appeared at school, she now looked a little haggard. She wore a lot of makeup, but it couldn't hide her red and swollen eyes. She must have cried for the entire night, right? While Shiryao was deep in thought, she saw Qin smiling at the physical education teacher and preparing to leave. However, before she could even lift her foot, she suddenly froze and turned around to look at Shiryao. Shiryao didn't avoid Qin gaze and openly met it. It was only after Qin admitted defeat and left that Shiryao began walking toward the physical education teacher. The PE teacher said, "What's wrong? Can't run anymore?" Yao nodded. I don't feel too well. The teacher pointed to a shady spot at the side. If you're not feeling well, take a break. Yao, thank you, teacher. Niran had already walked a distance away when she heard those words. She halted her footsteps for a moment, but she didn't turn around. A moment later, she hastened her footsteps and left. Chapter 140. Soft Bun really can't do it. She's so thin and frail, and she's already in such a state after just a single run. Boss, what are you looking at? Lu Benlai's voice sounded in his ears. Lin Jiej casually retracted his gaze from Yao and replied nonchalantly, it's nothing. Oh, boss, I've decided. When we're free to move around later, I'll ask my goddess for her phone number, Lu Benlai said as he glanced at Ling Yuan, who was running in his direction. Xie Shangzhou raised his head and added, I made a bet with him. If I get her number, I'll treat everyone to a drink. If I don't get her number, he'll treat everyone to a drink. Lin Jiej replied nonchalantly. A few seconds later, his gaze slowly turned back to Yao. The girl who had been squatting on the ground for a while seemed to have recovered from her exhaustion. She stood up and started chatting with another girl who had just finished her run with a smile on her face. A second after she finished chatting with that girl, a few other girls also finished their runs and greeted her with smiles on their faces. Lin Jiej couldn't help but stare at them for a while longer. Then, he realized that almost all of the girls in Yao's class were chatting with her after they had finished their run. It seemed like Soft Bun was a little too popular. It was rare to see a girl who could get along well with all of the other girls in the class. Just how many surprises were hidden within Soft Bun's slender body? It was just a coincidence that they were having a physical education class together, but it still managed to bring him a pleasant surprise. After finishing their run, they rested for around 5 minutes before the physical education teacher had everyone do 50 sit-ups before allowing them to move around freely. Jiang Yu and He Tian wanted to head to the washroom, so they called for Yao and Leng Nuan to accompany them. Just as the 4 girls were about to enter the nearest teaching block, a few male students walked out from within. 2 of them left the deepest impression on them because their names were simply too easy to remember. One of them was Lu Benlai, and the other was Xie Shangzhou. Yao and the others tactfully moved to the side to open up the exit. However, the men didn't seem to have any intention of coming out. They stood at the entrance and stared at the 4 ladies for a moment before Lu Benlai, who was dressed in a gaudy yellow robe, began walking toward them. Jiang Yu and He Tian had always been self-aware, so upon seeing this sight, they immediately turned their gazes toward Leng Nuan and Yao, wondering who the young man was going to hit on. Lu Benlai stopped before Leng Nuan and said, Hello, I'm Lu Benlai. Upon hearing this name once more, He Tian and Jiang Yu couldn't help but chuckle softly. Lu Benlai paused for a moment, but he didn't get angry. Staring at Leng Nuan, he continued. May I know if it's possible for us to exchange phone numbers? Leng Nuan had a considerate personality, but that was only limited to females. As long as she was around males, she would immediately turn cold. Take this moment for example. Without any hesitation, she replied, I can't. Xie Shangzhou, who was standing on the side, was trying his best to hold in his laughter. Unwilling to give up, Lu Benlai spoke up once more, It's fine if you don't want to exchange phone numbers. Can you tell me your phone number then? Leng Nuan fell silent for a moment before reciting a string of numbers to Lu Benlai. After which, she grabbed Yao with one hand and He Tian, who was holding Jiang Yu's arm, with the other, and quickly left. Chapter 141. After the girls entered the washroom, Lu Benlai chuckled as he tapped on the 11 digits he had saved earlier and dialed it. After the call connected, Lu Benlai spoke first, Student, this is my phone number. Remember to save it because this number could very well be the most important 11 digits in your life in the future. Before Liu Benlai could finish his words, he suddenly froze. Roughly 3 seconds later, he swiftly hung up the phone while cursing, "The heck, that's the number of the school's academic affairs director, and it's even Abbas Miju's number, ha ha ha." Unable to hold himself back any longer, Xie Shangzhou clutched his stomach and mocked. "The most important 11 digits in your life. You're making me laugh to death." When Shirya walked out of the washroom, she thought that the year 3 male students would have already left. Who could have thought that they would still be there when they reached the entrance of the school building? But this time, there was Lin Jiej. When Shirya looked at Lin Jiej, he wasn't even looking at her. His head was lowered as he tapped on his phone. Shirya hesitated for 2 seconds before deciding not to greet him. However, just as they were about to walk out of the school building, flashy boy Huang, who had tried to strike up a conversation with Leng Wan, suddenly straightened his back. A huge bag had appeared in his hands, and he walked over to them. "You must be thirsty after a PE lesson, right? I bought some drinks so you can pick one each." As he spoke, Liu Benlai opened the bag and passed it to the 4 girls. The one who had tried to strike up a conversation with him was Leng Wan. He Tian, Jiang Yu, and Shiryao didn't choose their drinks. Instead, they turned to look at Leng Wan. Leng Wan's face was cold, and she didn't respond at all. Seeing through the thoughts of the 3 girls, Liu Benlai spoke up, "You don't need to look at her. We're all schoolmates, so it's fine for us to have a drink. Besides, I bought yours, so it's a waste if we don't drink it." After saying those words, he gestured to Shiryao with his chin and said, "Little Junior, you choose first." Shiryao stared at the colorful bottles in Liu Benlai's hands and gulped down a mouthful of saliva. However, she didn't touch them and turned her gaze back to Leng Wan. Under the gazes of her 3 roommates, Leng Wan finally couldn't take it anymore and nodded her head coldly, indicating that they could do whatever they wanted. He Tian and Jiang Yu immediately rushed over and picked a bottle each. With a smile, they thanked Liu Benlai. "Thank you, senior." "You're welcome." Liu Benlai replied heartily as he took out a bottle of jasmine tea. Ignoring Leng Wan's resistance, he forcefully stuffed it into her hands before passing the bag over to Shiryao. There were 2 drinks in the bag. Not knowing which bottle she should choose, Shiryao frowned for a very long time before she raised her head and asked weakly, "Can I only choose one bottle?" "Gee!" A soft laughter came from not far away. Then, the person who laughed said with a faint smile, "You can choose 2 bottles." Hearing that voice, Shiryao was slightly taken aback. 2 seconds later, she turned her gaze toward the source of the voice. Unbeknownst to her, Lin Jiej had already put away his phone, and his deep, pitch-black eyes were staring intently at her. Shiryao's face reddened. She took half a step back and said softly, "I'll just take the red tea." Lin Jiej didn't say anything else, but the image of her huffing and puffing after running a lap around the field surfaced in his mind. He wondered if those slender arms and legs of hers would be able to open a bottle cap. He paused on the spot for a moment before making his way over to Shiryao. When he stood beside Liu Benlai, he happened to block the sunlight, casting a shadow over Shiryao. Chapter 142. He stared at her for a moment before reaching out to grab a bottle from the bag. After twisting the cap open and tightening it, he tossed it into Shiryao's arms and said, "You can have my bottle." His voice was low and deep, and it sounded as if he was speaking leisurely into her ears. Shiryao's head spun for a second, and by the time she came back to her senses, he had already turned around and left. A gentle spring breeze blew past, and by the time Shiryao caught a glimpse of Lin Jiej's silhouette, his white tracksuit was puffed up by the wind, and a few strands of his hair were fluttering mischievously. Seeing that Lin Jiej had left, the boys also followed suit. Flamboyant Yellow Jacket was the last to leave, but before he left, he didn't forget to ask Leng Wan with a cheeky smile, "Fellow student, are you really not going to consider giving me your phone number?" Leng Wan's face remained impassive, showing no signs of speaking at all. Flamboyant Yellow Jacket didn't get angry at all. The smile on his face shone brighter than the sun. "It's fine, fellow student. One day, you'll give me your phone number." Dark Blue Jacket had already walked a distance away when he heard Flamboyant Yellow Jacket's words. He turned around and urged, "Can you hurry up? We're going to play basketball." Flamboyant Yellow Jacket waved at Leng Wan and said, "Sayonara," before running off. When the boys were finally out of sight, he Tian opened the bottle cap and exclaimed in delight, "Wow, my Adonis is so cool. He's even opening a bottle cap for Yao Yao. I'd love to have a Adonis to open a bottle cap for me too." Jiang Yu nodded her head cooperatively. "I'm starting to believe Yao Yao's confession last night. But speaking of which, Yao Yao, is there a hole in your head? Why would you give up on such a good fiancé and think of canceling the engagement? Is there something wrong with your head?" He Tian, "That's right. Yao Yao, this is a blessing that you've accumulated in your previous life." "No, the previous life, the life before that, the life before that, the life before that. How can you not cherish it? What good friends and what not." Didn't he still choose to give up on her after meeting her Adonis? Shi Yao pouted as she lowered her head to sip on her black tea. Jiang Yu said, "That's not the point. The point is, Yao Yao, can you be a little more mature? How did you do it just now? You said so seriously that you could only choose one bottle." He Tian, "That's right. Yao Yao, don't you want to lose face? You've disgraced the whole dormitory." Shi Yao gulped down 3/5 of the black tea in a single breath before raising her head and replying in a very reasonable manner, "It's not like you can eat face." Jiang Yu said, "You're right. I can't even refute you." He Tian, "It's a good thing that he can't eat his face. If he could, Yao Yao would have eaten it all." Leng Wan seemed to have come to a realization, and she continued, "If that's the case, no matter what, our dormitory room is destined to lose face." He Tian, "Classmate Leng Wan, let's not talk about Yao Yao anymore. Bro, are you really not going to consider that phone number? I think he's not bad. He's better than your previous pursuers. Bro." Ha ha ha, Tiantian's nickname for her pursuers always makes me laugh. Toilet Bowl Man, Mediterranean Sea. Jiang Yu said as she turned to Leng Wan. "Nguan, I also think that this phone number isn't bad." Shi Yao, who was too focused on drinking her tea, raised her hand that was holding the jasmine tea to express her agreement. Chapter 143. After saying those words, Leng Wan turned around and left. Looking at Zhang Xian's back, he Tian muttered under her breath, "I can't help but feel like something happened to Nuanyuan. Whenever the topic of dating is brought up, she's extremely resistant to it." Jiang Yu said, "Yeah, didn't we ask that before?" But not only did she not say anything, she even got very angry. At this point, Shi Yao had already finished the entire bottle of black tea. While searching for a trash can, she said, "Since Nuan doesn't want to talk about it, let's not ask her about it. Everyone has their own secrets that they don't want others to know about. Besides, as friends, we shouldn't be curious about the matters of our friends." Jiang Yu nodded vigorously. Yes, I agree with Yao Yao." He Tian, "Shall we go eat Nuan's favorite Zhejiang noodles tonight?" Shi Yao was still trying to reason with him a second ago, but upon hearing about food, her eyes immediately curled up into crescents as she nodded and replied, "Sure." Before we went to eat fried paste noodles, the class leader came to the dorm and handed out a form for everyone to sign up for next month's sports meet. Since there were too many students avoiding the sports competition, the class leader began to act pitiful before everyone filled in the forms. She also emphasized that every dorm had to sign up for 4 events. Leng Wan registered for the swimming event, He Tian for the long jump event, and Jiang Yu for the cheerleading team. Initially, Shi Yao had only wanted to sign up for her specialty, the high jump, but in the end, she could only sign up for Jiang Yu's 100-meter sprint. After sending off the class monitor, Shi Yao and the others headed to dinner together. Zhaojiangmian was a noodle shop near the school. It took about 20 minutes to walk there. Along the way, Shi Yao bumped into Qini Ran. However, this time, she was not alone. There were several boys following her. They were dressed like hooligans. One of them had a tattoo on his arm. After passing by Qini Ran's group, Jiang Yu finally spoke up. Didn't Qini Ran always look down on such people? Why is she with them now? He Tian, I don't know, but I don't think those male students are good people to begin with. Even though they're students of our academy, they don't seem to have attended any classes at all. They're always fooling around, and they often get into fights with others in the internet cafes near our academy. Leng Wan, Qini Ran must have been so agitated by the incident on the school forum that she couldn't think straight. By the time they finished eating, the sky had already darkened. He Tian and Leng Wan wanted to go shopping together, so they went to the supermarket together. Jiang Yu wanted to go to the nearby bookstore to buy the latest fashion magazines, and Shi Yao wanted to return to the school library to do her papers. Therefore, after the 4 of them left the noodle house, they temporarily separated. Just as she was about to reach the entrance of the academy, Shi Yao bumped into Qini Ran for the 3rd time. She was still followed by a few rascally boys. They had probably just finished eating and were walking to the internet cafe opposite the school. But before they could get far, Qini Ran caught sight of Shi Yao. She turned to the tallest and darkest male student beside her and said a few words. Following which, the male students immediately turned their gazes toward Shi Yao, and 1 or 2 of them even whistled loudly. Ignoring them, Shi Yao quickly made her way to the entrance of the academy. However, just as she was about to reach the school gate, a few people stood in front of her and blocked her way. It was Qini Ran's group. Shi Yao changed her direction, and the others followed suit. Chapter 144. No one paid any heed to her, but when she tried to move in another direction, she was blocked once more. A frown formed on Shi Yao's forehead, but she still maintained her courtesy and said, "Fellow student, can you step aside?" Someone let out a disdainful chuckle. Shi Yao could tell that it was Qini Ran's laughter, and the frown on her forehead deepened. Seeing that those people were surrounding her from all sides, she couldn't help but feel a little vexed and fearful. As a result, her tone turned a little hostile as well. "Can you step aside?" Those people still didn't say a word. However, the dark-skinned and muscular man standing right in front of Shi Yao was already moving toward her. Shi Yao pursed her lips. From the corner of her eyes, she noticed that the people on her left and right were moving as well, and she subconsciously took half a step back. It was only then that she realized that the people behind her were also moving toward her. When the person in front was only half a meter away from Shi Yao suddenly shouted, "Move aside." The dark-skinned and muscular man showed no signs of stopping at all, and he continued to inch closer and closer to Shi Yao. But just as he was about to press his entire body against Shi Yao's, a mineral water bottle suddenly flew over and struck his head. Accompanying his curses was an elegant and deep voice, "Are you deaf? Didn't you hear what she said? She told you to move aside." The moment those words were spoken, the young man standing in front of Shi Yao clutched the back of his head as he turned his head to look behind him. His movement had opened up Shi Yao's line of sight, allowing her to get a good look at the person standing in front of her. The tall and slender Lin Jiej had changed out of his sports attire for the afternoon physical education class and was now wearing a simple pair of jeans and a white shirt. He looked much more elegant and dignified than before. However, his expression didn't look too good. Deep hostility could be seen in his usually cold eyes. Seeing that the man in front of Shi Yao still hadn't moved away, he spoke up once more, and this time, his tone was much more ferocious than before. "I'll say it one more time, move aside." The dark-skinned and muscular man standing in front of Shi Yao finally spoke up, and his tone was just as vicious as Lin Jiej's. "If I want to say it, I won't move aside." Before the man could finish his words, Lin Jiej had already sent him crashing to the ground with a punch. Shi Yao's body trembled in fright. In the next instant, Lin Jiej grabbed her wrist, and his tall and slender body stood in front of her, separating her from Qin Yiran's group. F***CK. The man who had been pummeled to the ground by Lin Jiej stood up angrily. "Lin Jiej, don't you dare get cocky. Don't think that I'm afraid of you. Let me tell you, I have my eyes on that chick behind you. You, try staring at one of them." Just like before he could finish his words, Lin Jiej had already interjected. As Lin Jiej spoke, Shi Yao, who was standing behind him, could clearly feel a domineering aura emanating from him. It was a stark contrast to his usual calm and collected demeanor. "I'll protect her." His tone was very heavy, but there was an eerie chill in it that pressed forward. "If you're not afraid of death, feel free to touch her." Perhaps it was due to Lin Jiej's overwhelming aura, but the tanned and muscular man didn't say a word at all. However, the gazes of the two men were unyielding as they stared at each other from a distance. The atmosphere grew a little tense. For some reason, Shi Yao couldn't help but feel worried that they would end up fighting one another. Lin Jiej was alone, so it was clear that he wouldn't be a match for them. Chapter 145. But if I can't win, I can still run. Why don't I just pull Lin Jiej along and run? With this thought in mind, Shi Yao grabbed Lin Jiej's hand. Lin Jiej's body trembled slightly in response to Shi Yao's actions. "Just whose side is Soft Bun on? Are you sure you're not dragging me down by holding my hand?" Just as Shi Yao was about to pull Lin Jiej away with a tense expression, a voice suddenly sounded from behind. "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Shi Yao turned around and saw that it was Flamboyant Yellow, who had asked for Leng Wan's phone number earlier in the afternoon. He was walking over with a pink milkshake in his hand. Behind Flamboyant Yellow was Dark Blue. He was also holding a milkshake in his hand, but it was light yellow in color. Based on her experience with milkshakes, there was an 80% chance that one of them was strawberry flavored while the other was pineapple flavored. When she got closer, Deep Blue bit her straw and asked, "What happened?" Flamboyant Yellow looked at the horrified Lin Jiej before glancing at the group of people standing by the side. In the end, his gaze fell on Qin Yiran. Then, as if coming to a realization, he turned to Lin Jiej and said, "Boss, you should bring little Junior back to school first. Xie Shangzhou and I will deal with this matter here." Lin Jiej stood on the spot. He lowered his gaze to look at the petite hand that was holding his hand, and after a moment of hesitation, he nodded. Lu Benlai was right. It was best to bring Soft Bun away from here first. Otherwise, if a conflict were to arise, she might end up panting heavily after running a lap around the field. Be careful. Lin Jiej instructed Lu Benlai and Xia Shangzhou before turning to Shi Yao and saying, "Let's go." The young lady didn't say a word. Her eyes were fixed on Lu Benlai. Lin Jiej frowned in displeasure as he followed her line of sight. However, when he saw that she was staring at the milkshake in Lu Benlai's hand, his frown immediately eased. Then, he cursed in his heart, How useless, as he took the unopened milkshake in Liu Benlai's hand and said, I'll be taking this. After saying those words, Lin Jiej pressed the milkshake against Shiyao's face and said, let's go. Then he grabbed her hand and walked towards the school gate. Lin Jiej, stop right there. Did I say that you can leave? The tanned and muscular man finally spoke up. I'm telling him to leave. I'm the one who has the final say here. Xie Shangzhou stretched out his hand to stop the young man from following Lin Jiej. The tanned man roared, who the F***ck are you? How dare you call yourself lousy in front of me? Liu Benlai, it doesn't matter who he is. What's important is that he's your father, and I'm your father's father. Xie Shangzhou, screw you. Liu Benlai, I'm your father. After entering the school grounds, Lin Jiej passed the milkshake to Shi Yao and inserted the straw into it. Only then did Shi Yao realize that she was still holding on to Lin Jiej's hand. She blushed and quickly let go of his hand. Then, she took 2 steps back and whispered, thank you. Lin Jiej didn't say a word. Instead, he lowered his gaze to look at his hands. For some reason, he couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable. There was only one way to enter the school. The two of them walked forward in silence, a distance that was neither too far nor too close. Just as they were about to reach the canteen, a thought suddenly came to Shi Yao's mind, and she asked, will your 2 friends be fine? Should we inform the teachers? Chapter 146. Lady, isn't your reaction time a little too long? It's already been several minutes. If those 2 really couldn't defeat the other party, they would already be lying on the ground, unable to get up, right? Lin Jiej shot a glance at Shi Yao, and when he saw the nearly empty milkshake in her hand, he finally understood why she would only think of Xie Shangzhou and Liu Benlai now. So, she was only focused on eating earlier. Lin Jiej was rendered speechless for a moment before replying, I already called the school security department to inform them when I entered the school. Shi Yao replied with an oh, before lowering her head to gulp down the remaining milkshake. As she passed by the trash can, Shi Yao tossed the milkshake into it. After which, she shot a glance at Lin Jiej, and after a moment of contemplation, she said, I'll be leaving first. Lin Jiej didn't say a word. Accustomed to him ignoring her, Shi Yao left him a goodbye, before heading to the library. However, after walking for a distance, Shi Yao realized that Lin Jiej was still following behind her. That's weird. Why is he still following behind me? Shi Yao hastened her footsteps, and when she finally slowed down, she sneaked a glance behind her. Surprisingly, the distance between them hadn't changed much. Could it be that he was going to the library just like her? There were quite a few people gathered in the library, so Shi Yao quickly scanned her surroundings. In the end, she had no choice but to choose a seat in the center. Just as she was about to take out her paper from her bag and place it on the table, a small commotion suddenly broke out in the quiet library. Curious, Shi Yao raised her head and saw Lin Jiej swiping his card and walking in. It's really as I thought. He's here in the library too. Shi Yao thought as she searched for her pen in her bag. But as soon as she placed her pen on the table, the chair beside her was pulled aside. Accompanied by a refreshing fragrance, Shi Yao saw Lin Jiej sitting down beside her under everyone's gazes. She could clearly sense quite a few female students in the library looking at her with envious gazes. She was only here to do a paper, she didn't intend to be so ostentatious. Besides, it's fine if you're looking at Lin Jiej, but why are you dragging me into it as well? Shi Yao grumbled in her heart as she lowered her head and picked up her brush. Pretending that she couldn't see the people around her, she focused all her attention on her paper. Lin Jiej didn't grab any books or papers, so the table in front of him was completely empty. He casually leaned back in his chair and played with his phone. He was probably afraid of disturbing the surrounding students, so he wore earphones. When Shiryao was done with a quarter of the paper, she shot a glance at Lin Jiej. The boy was probably playing a game. He stared intently at the screen of his phone, his fingers nimbly sliding across the screen. All Shiryao wanted to do was take a glance, but in that instant, her eyes were fixated on Lin Jiej's slender and beautiful fingers. What a beautiful pair of hands, with distinct joints and clean fingertips. How could there be such a person who looked good, had a good voice, a good background, a good height, a good figure, and even had good hands? There was simply no justice in this world. With this thought in mind, Shiryao retracted her gaze. But halfway through, she stopped. That was because she noticed that the game Lin Jiej was playing on his phone was PlayerUnknown's Battleground. It can't be, he's actually playing the same game as me. Before Shiryao could recover from her astonishment, a male student suddenly walked over and discreetly pushed a light blue envelope toward her. With a hushed voice, he said, "Student Shiryao, this is for you." Chapter 147. Lin Jiej had his earphones plugged in, so he couldn't hear what the man was saying. However, from the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of the light blue envelope. There's a pink heart pasted on the envelope. Lin Jiej didn't even need to think to know what it was. That was because he had received too many similar things since he was young. In fact, he had even received this envelope before. This is too much. To actually send a love letter to Soft Bun right in front of me. With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej discreetly removed one of his earphones and glared at the man who had delivered the letter to Shiryao. The man continued staring at Shiryao as if he didn't exist. What the heck, are you treating me as if I don't exist? How dare you look at Soft Bun with such a lecherous gaze? Suppressing the urge to gouge out the man's eyeballs, Lin Jiej absent-mindedly played his game while his gaze drifted back and forth between the man's body. He removed his earphones, so he could hear the man's words clearly. "Shiryao, you have to read it, oh. You're a man, what the heck is oh?" Lin Jiej had completely forgotten his earlier, too much, and he cursed in disdain. "Also, Shiryao, I hope that you can remember my name. My name is Qin Shou, the Qin from Qin Shi Huang, and the Shou from birthday. Pfft." Lin Jiej couldn't help but chuckle softly in his heart. Qin from Qin Shi Huang, and the Shou from birthday. Is there something wrong with that? You're talking about Qin Shi Huang, and the Shou from birthday. After saying those words, the young man cast a longing glance at Shiryao for a moment longer before sneaking back to his seat and sitting down. Lin Jiej, who had been shot in the head due to his distraction, exited the game, put down his phone, and looked at the man who had delivered the love letter to Shiryao once more. He realized that the man wasn't reading his book, and he was bashfully sneaking glances at Shiryao. What's wrong with this world? It's bad enough for a woman to be a mistress, so why do men like to be mistresses as well? And it's one thing for this man to be a mistress, but he's acting so brazenly. It seems like I'm the one who's ignorant. Men are much scarier than women when they're despicable. A frown appeared on Lin Jiej's forehead as he shifted his gaze from the male student named Animal to Shiryao. The girl placed the love letter on the side of the table without opening it. She didn't seem to be surprised by the scene just now. She lowered her head without any reaction and continued to do her paper. It seemed like Soft Bun wasn't interested in that brutish beast, or else she wouldn't have been so calm. But why is that beast still looking at Soft Bun? The library was a sacred place, and it was used to study, not to look at girls. The school's governance was really bad. Why didn't anyone come to manage it? Lin Jiej was growing more and more restless under the man's gaze. Eventually, when his gaze finally fell onto Shiryao's paper, a thought suddenly flashed across his mind. He inched closer to Shi Yao and glanced at her mathematics paper. After which, he pointed at her paper and said, "You did this question wrong." Shi Yao was so focused on her question that she didn't notice Lin Jie's movements at all. It was only when he spoke that she realized that he was standing very close to her. What was he doing? Shi Yao looked at Lin Jie doubtfully. Ignoring Shi Yao's gaze, Lin Jie feigned an intimate look as he pointed at her paper and said something that wasn't so intimate. "You did this question wrong too, and you did this question wrong too. It's such a simple question, how did you get it wrong?" Chapter 148. Did I make so many mistakes? Shi Yao bit on the shaft of her pen as she stared at the questions Lin Jie said she had gotten wrong with a frown. "This question is wrong too, and there's also this one." Lin Jie muttered non-stop as he browsed through the paper. "This mathematics paper of yours is as good as wasted. I've never seen anyone who has made more mistakes than correct in a mathematics paper. If you were to be placed in an examination hall, you'd probably flunk the entire exam, wouldn't you?" "What do you mean by as good as a waste of time?" Shi Yao's lips twitched. She really wanted to raise her hand to cover the paper to prevent Lin Jie from looking at it. If she were good at math, she wouldn't have needed to do this. It was precisely because she was afraid of failing that she had to go to the library to do it. "It can't be, right? How could you get this question wrong? I've known it since elementary school, but you still can't do it." Lin Jie's attention was still fixated on Shi Yao's paper, so he didn't notice her displeasure at all. Looking at the paper, he shook his head and said, "Soft bun, your math is really bad. It just so happens that I have nothing to do at the moment, so I'll reluctantly tutor you. If you say that I'm wrong, then so be it. Why are you using me to belittle me? Also, what the heck is soft bun? Are you referring to me? How do I resemble soft bun? That's a personal attack, alright. And lastly, what does reluctantly mean? She has the correct answer, it's just that she hasn't finished it yet, so she hasn't verified it yet. Besides, it's not like I asked him to tutor me. He's the one who came up to me." With such thoughts in mind, Shi Yao glared at Lin Jie in displeasure. Noticing her displeased gaze, Lin Jie turned to look at the beast. From the perspective of the beast, he could only see Lin Jie's expression, not Shi Yao's. Thus, his lips curled up in a seemingly doting manner, but in truth, he was saying to Shi Yao, "Don't worry, I won't charge you for tutoring me." Ah! How can there be someone who can be so shameless? Without any hesitation, Shi Yao rejected Lin Jie, "There's no need for it. I already have the answer, it's okay, it's really free. Besides, with your math level, I'm afraid you won't be able to understand how the answer was solved, right?" As Lin Jie spoke, he snatched the pen from Shi Yao's hand and began redoing the questions that Shi Yao had gotten wrong on the paper. Honestly speaking, Lin Jie's explanation was much easier to understand than the answers on the test paper. Initially, Shi Yao was still holding a grudge against Zhang Xian's suggestion, but after listening to his explanation, she recalled that her mathematics results were already teetering on the brink of collapse. In the end, she still decided to compromise with him. A wise man submits to circumstances. While she was explaining the questions, Shi Yao's attention was completely focused on the paper. On the other hand, Lin Jie was constantly making small movements. He would either lean in closer to Shi Yao's face, wrap his arm around her shoulder, and use his other hand to tap on the paper, or rest his arm on the back of the chair behind Shi Yao. His series of actions seemed intimate. In the eyes of the spectators, they looked no different from a couple in the throes of passion. Just as he was about to finish explaining the questions, Lin Jie saw the downcast and sorrowful look on the face of the beast who had just sent Shi Yao a love letter. His mood immediately lightened up, and he raised his pen generously and wrote a few more questions on the back of the paper. Since you've understood the questions earlier, why don't you try answering these questions now? Chapter 149. Yao replied with an "oh" as she took the pen from Lin Jiej's hands and began working on it. Lin Jiej didn't disturb Yao anymore. He first shot a glance at Qin Shou, who still had an awful expression on his face, before turning his gaze back to Yao once more. The young lady's expression was serious and focused as she worked on the question. Occasionally, when she was deep in thought, her brows would furrow slightly. Perhaps it was because she had a physical education class today, but she had combed her long hair into a bun, revealing her fair and slender neck. The side profile of her face was delicate and beautiful, especially the tip of her nose. It was perky and cute. Lin Jiej stared at Yao for a while, but not only did he not find it annoying, he found her even more pleasing to the eye. He didn't expect Soft Bun to be so good-looking as well. It was no wonder men would send her love letters. I wonder how many love letters there are. While Lin Jiej was still immersed in his thoughts, a female student sitting in front of him suddenly turned around with an exercise book in her hand and asked, "Senior Lin, there's a question that I'm unable to solve. Can you help me with it?" Before Lin Jiej could say anything, Yao had already raised her head to look at the female student. He reached out and flicked Yao's head lightly. "Do your question." Yao puffed up her cheeks and obediently lowered her head to look at the question Lin Jiej had written for her. Noticing that Lin Jiej wasn't replying to her question, the female student who was chatting up Lin Jiej spoke up once more, "Senior Lin, this question." This time, before the female student could finish her words, Lin Jiej had already interjected, "Am I a teacher?" Seeing that Lin Jiej had spoken to her, a hint of shyness surfaced on the female student's face. She shook her head and replied gently, "No." "Isn't there a problem then? If you have a question that you don't know, you should ask your teacher." "Why are you asking me?" Lin Jiej said nonchalantly before turning his gaze back to Yao. How could these female students act like this? Aren't they trying to ruin my reputation by talking to me in front of Soft Bun? But speaking of which, I came to the library with Soft Bun. Soft Bun received a love letter, and I was accosted by a female student. Considering how talented Soft Bun and I are, they sure are a match made in heaven. What should I name them? Peach Blossom Couple. Just as Lin Jiej was feeling gleeful over the name he had given himself, he suddenly caught sight of the blue envelope on the table. Why is that thing getting more and more irritating? Lin Jiej stared at the letter for a moment before a thought suddenly came to his mind, and he said, "I'm thirsty." After explaining the questions to you earlier. Hearing his words, Yao turned to look at him. Before Yao could say anything, Lin Jiej had already continued. "I don't need you to treat me to a drink, but you can treat me if you want. I'll pay for it." Saying so, Lin Jiej took out his phone, tapped into the food delivery service, and passed it over to Yao. "What would you like to drink? Who wants to buy you a drink? Could one not be so self-righteous?" Yao muttered in her heart. Then, she looked at the colorful milk tea that Lin Jiej passed over and hesitated for a moment before she finally pointed to a milky green one. Yao nodded. Lin. Yao Lin Jiej instead, Yao nodded. Zhang Yao Xiao Gu Lu Yao, Li Lu, and replied. Lu Lin, Lu Jili nodded. "I'm sorry, but the person you're looking for has already arrived on Mars." Lin Jiej calmly typed in 4 words, "golden resplendence." Lu Benlai swiftly replied, "All right, boss. Please wait a moment. I'll deliver the item you want as soon as possible using SF Express." Chapter 150. Lin Jiej didn't reply to Lu Benlai's message. Instead, he put away his phone and returned to silence. Just as Shuyao was about to finish the question, Lin Jiej's delivery arrived. Lu Benlai also arrived at the same time. Lin Jiej left the library for a while, and when he returned, he was carrying a large bag in his hands. He placed the bag in front of Shuyao, took a cup of milk tea, and inserted a straw into it for her. After which, he took a look at the question she had just done. Shuyao glanced at the milk tea placed in front of her and counted silently. There were a total of 8 cups. There were only the 2 of them here, so why did he buy 8 cups? Before Shuyao could ask anything, Lin Jiej had already pointed out the mistake in her earlier question. While he was going through the question again, every time Shuyao finished a cup of milk tea, Lin Jiej would bring her a new one. When Shuyao finished her 3rd cup, she finally spoke the words that Lin Jiej had been waiting for, I need to go to the washroom. Lin Jiej stared at the question paper with a serious look on his face as he replied with an on. After Shuyao left the library, Lin Jiej put down the question paper and scanned his surroundings. The beast, who delivered the love letter, had already left the library in a fit of anger, and the other students were either busy with their questions or chatting with one another. No one was paying him any attention. Lin Jiej made use of this opportunity to pick up that eyesore of a love letter, opened it, and took out the pink letter within. He stuffed it into his pocket haphazardly before putting back the paper that he had asked Lu Benlai to print for him. After which, he returned the letter back to its original position. By the time they left the library, it was already 10:30 p.m. Lin Jiej sent Shuyao to the female dormitory and passed the 5 cups of milk tea that Shuyao hadn't finished yet to her. After Shuyao entered the female dormitory, Lin Jiej turned around and headed for the male dormitory. When he passed by a bright street lamp, he paused and took out the pink letter from his pocket. Using the light from the lamp, he took a look at the content written on it. Shuyao, some people say that falling in love with a city is because there's a certain person living in it. I believe that the reason why I fell in love with G University is because you're in G University. I don't know when I fell in love with you, but I know that loving you is the most beautiful thing that I've ever done in my life. No words can express my feelings for you. My only wish is to spend the rest of my life with you. Chin Shou's name. Phone call. Ha, a man actually wrote such a mushy love letter. Lin Jiej had no idea what he was so angry about, but after reading the love letter, he tore it into pieces and threw it into the trash can. Back in the dormitory, Xie Shangzhou was standing guard by Lu Benlai's side. Lu Benlai was leaning over the table with a pen in hand, and the two of them seemed to be discussing something. The first person Xie Shangzhou saw was Lin Jiej. Boss, you're back. Without saying a word, Lin Jiej walked up to the water dispenser and poured himself a cup of water. Hearing Xie Shangzhou's words, Lu Benlai raised his head to look at Lin Jiej and said, Boss, I've made up my mind. I'm going to write a love letter to Leng Wan. Do you want to help me out? Lin Jiej was just about to reply with a I'm not interested when a thought suddenly struck him. Roughly 3 seconds later, he slowly walked over to Lu Benlai with a cup of water in hand. He lowered his head to take a look at the love letter Lu Benlai had written, and a disdainful frown appeared on his face. After which, he said, There's a saying that when you fall in love with a city, it's because there's someone living in it. Chapter 151. I think the reason why I fell in love with G University is because of you. Xie Shangzhou and Lu Benlai were stunned for a moment before turning their heads to look at Lin Jiej. After about 3 seconds, Xie Shangzhou said, F***CK, did I hear that right? Was it really boss who spoke just now? Lu Benlai picked his ears and said, Yes, you didn't hear wrongly. It was really our boss speaking just now, and his words are even better than those confessions you came up with. Scram! I don't have the time to bother with a grandson like you right now. My entire mind is on boss right now, Xie Shangzhou said as he circled around Lin Jiej. Boss, you aren't from the mathematics faculty, right? You're from the Chinese department, right? Was that love letter really that good? Why were these two worshipping him so much? An inexplicable displeasure welled up in Lin Jiej's chest. With an impatient look on his face, he asked, "Do you still want to continue? If you don't want me to go." Yes, yes, yes. Liu Benlai pressed his palms together and pleaded, "Boss, I'll entrust my lifelong happiness to you. I'm not going to Majestic Clubhouse. No, not only am I not going, but I'll treat you tomorrow night. I'll treat you to Mala Tang." After saying those words, Liu Benlai smiled apologetically and said, "Boss, can you be more understanding? I've already spent this month's allowance on clothes. Next month, I'll make up for my hot pot. Tomorrow, I'll make up for the mala soup." Before Liu Benlai could finish his words, Lin Jiej's lips moved once more. "I don't even know when I fell in love with you, wait a moment." Liu Benlai suddenly thought of something and interrupted Lin Jiej's words. He quickly whipped out his phone and turned on the recording function. Boss, say it again." "I'll record it." Fearing that Lin Jiej wouldn't agree to it, Liu Benlai didn't forget to flatter him. "Boss, I'm different from you. You have a photographic memory, and you're able to memorize everything you see. I can't do that. It goes in one ear and comes out the other." Even though Lin Jiej had a "how troublesome" look on his face, he still repeated what he had said earlier. "Some people say that you fall in love with a city because someone lives in it. I think the reason why I fell in love with G University is because G University has you. I don't know when I fell in love with you, but I do know that loving you is the best thing I've ever done in my life. Thousands of words can't express my feelings for you. I only wish to be with you in this life. In this life, I will be with you, Ling Wan." These words are practically made for me and Ling Wan. Liu Benlai muttered those words, and in the next second, he exclaimed in gratitude. "Boss, if you were in ancient times, you would be one of the 4 great scholars of the capital." His talent was superb. He disdained to write such a sour thing. Lin Jiej shot a sidelong glance at Liu Benlai and said, "I didn't write it. I picked it up by accident." I didn't flatter the right person. Boss didn't write it." But a short second later, Liu Benlai spoke up once more. "Boss, you're really incredible. You actually managed to pick up such a good love letter while walking on the streets. I've already betrothed myself to Leng Wan in this life. If you don't mind, let's meet in our next life." With a look of disdain on his face, Lin Jiej tossed out a, "You're not complimenting me, you're burning the bridge after crossing it," before walking over to his table, pulling out a chair and sitting down. Chapter 152. Now that he thought about it, it was indeed rather shameless of him to do so, but he couldn't be blamed. Who asked that beast to send Soft Bun a love letter? It was one thing to send it, but why did he have to do it right under his nose? Was his, Lin Jiej's, someone whom anyone could poach just like that? However, that love letter, it was written, it was, really not bad, my ass. Irritated, Lin Jiej stood up and prepared to head to the bathroom. However, Xie Shangzhou, who had been staring intently at Liu Benlai's love letter, suddenly turned around and asked, "Boss, where's your Peppa? When are you going to bring it over for Xiaolai and I to take a look?" Peppa. Lin Jiej frowned, not understanding what Xie Shangzhou was talking about. Liu Benlai, who was in the midst of listening to Lin Jiej's voice message, raised his head and explained, "Boss, Xie Shangzhou is referring to the pet you mentioned a few days ago that you want to raise, the pet that has a huge appetite. He gave it a nickname, Peppa, the Peppa from Peppa Pig. So, he's still treating Soft Bun as a pig? In the next second, Lin Jiej turned to look at Xie Shangzhou expressionlessly. Xie Shangzhou shuddered. As he spoke, he backed away from the door. I just remembered that Li Qin is looking for me. I'll head over to his dormitory room. After saying that, Xie Shangzhou opened the door and ran away like a wisp of smoke. Lin Jiej didn't feel sleepy at all after his shower. He lay on his bed for a while, and for some reason, he recalled what Shuyao had said to him on the phone last night. I didn't do it on purpose. I just didn't think that the message was sent by you. After all, you're usually so arrogant, aloof, and haughty, as if everyone owes you 200 renminbi. Was he as bad as she made him out to be? Lin Jiej flipped over. Was he really that bad in Soft Bun's heart? Lin Jiej flipped over once more. After half a minute of silence, Lin Jiej sat up on his bed. After learning from Liu Benlai that Lin Jiej had fallen asleep, Xie Shangzhou finally dared to return to his dormitory room. However, as soon as he pushed open the door, he saw Lin Jiej sitting up on his bed. He shuddered in fear, and just as he was about to leave, Lin Jiej caught him and said, "Come over here. I have something to ask you." Xie Shangzhou said, "Go ahead, boss." His footsteps were already retreating. "Come over here." Lin Jiej paused for a moment before making a promise. "As long as you answer my questions honestly, I'll let go of the matter regarding Peppa Pig." Xie Shangzhou immediately leaped over to Lin Jiej's bedside and said, "Boss, I'll answer your questions truthfully. If I lie to you, may I be struck by lightning." Satisfied, Lin Jiej asked, "Do I look like an arrogant person most of the time?" The smile on Xie Shangzhou's face instantly froze, and his entire body brimmed with vigilance. This was a suicidal question. "Boss, I still choose you to be calculative with me about Peppa Pig." Lin Jiej frowned, but seeing that Xie Shangzhou wasn't showing any signs of compromising, he could only say, "I guarantee that this isn't a deathly question." "Xie Shangzhou, are you sure?" Lin Jiej nodded patiently. Only then did Xie Shangzhou reply, "He's pretty cocky." Halfway through his reply, Xie Shangzhou sneaked a glance at Lin Jiej, and seeing that the latter's expression was normal, he finally relaxed. Thus, he added, "and doesn't like to talk to others." Lin Jiej, other than being cocky and ignoring others, I'm also very arrogant. Thinking that Lin Jiej wouldn't get angry, Xie Shangzhou replied sincerely, "That's right, you're super arrogant." "Lin Jiej, do I look like everyone owes me 200 renminbi?" Without any hesitation, Xie Shangzhou replied, "It's not just 200 renminbi, it's more like 2,000 renminbi. Chapter 153. On the other hand, Lin Jiej's expression immediately turned cold. "Since you think that I look like you owe me 2,000 RMB, transfer me 2,000 RMB through WeChat right now." After saying those words, Lin Jiej angrily lay back on the bed and pulled the blanket over himself. Xie Shangzhou, who was standing next to him, widened his eyes in shock. Didn't we agree that it wasn't going to be a suicide question? How did it become a money-giving question? However, money was his life. After going around in circles, it was still a dead end. Before Xie Shangzhou could digest this blow, Lin Jiej had already lifted his blanket and straightened his body before adding, "If it had been any other time, I would have been able to get over it with 2,000 RMB, but it's 4,000 RMB today." You should know the reason. Lin Jiej paused for a moment before replying nonchalantly. "Peppa Pig." Xie Shangzhou nearly fell to his knees. Didn't they agree that as long as he answered the questions truthfully, the incident with Peppa Pig would be written off? Why did he want to settle the score now? Was he too young, or was boss too shameless? It wasn't easy for Xie Shangzhou to recover from Lin Jiej's blow. He took a shower and climbed onto his bed. Just as he was about to mourn the loss of the 4,000 RMB that he was about to lose, Lin Jiej, who had been lying motionlessly on the bed for a long time, suddenly flung his blanket aside and sat up. Xie Shangzhou, I'm serious. Do I really look as arrogant as I usually do? Doesn't like to talk to people. Arrogant? It's like everyone owes me 200 yuan. Xie Shangzhou shook his head vehemently. No, no, no. Boss, you're the most approachable person in the world. You're always smiling at everyone you meet, and you're especially popular with people. As for your arrogance, that has nothing to do with you at all. You're the most down-to-earth person in the world. Also, you're acting as if everyone owes you 200 renminbi. What kind of nonsense is that? There's definitely something wrong with you. Boss, you might be the idol in the eyes of men, but in the eyes of women, you're the existence that the academy owes me. Lin Jiej, who said he was talking nonsense? Who said there was something wrong with him? What kind of joke was this? Was Soft Bun someone whom anyone could casually slander? Hearing those words, Lin Jiej's expression immediately darkened. Gritting his teeth, he spat out a single word, 8,000 yuan, before lying down and pulling the blanket over himself once more. Before Shi Yao could return to her dormitory room, the news of Lin Jiej going to the library with her had already spread like wildfire. As a result, she was immediately surrounded by He Tian, Jiang Yu, and Leng Yuan as soon as she entered the dormitory room. She honestly recounted how she was surrounded by Qin Iran's group from start to end, and she even shared a cup of the milk tea that Lin Jiej had bought with each of them. Only then did they finally let her off. After taking a bath, Shi Yao was sitting in front of the table applying her skincare products when she caught a glimpse of the love letter that Qin Shou had given her. In fact, she had received a lot of similar love letters, but she was still quite curious about what was written inside, so after applying the skincare products, she picked up the love letter, opened it, and pulled out a piece of paper. Ha! This Qin Shou was quite novel. He actually used the most ordinary A4 paper to write a love letter. Even the content was printed. Could it be that this person's handwriting was very ugly? With such thoughts in mind, Shi Yao looked at the words on the A4 paper. He forcefully tore his clothes apart and covered his lips with his own. Shi Yao widened her eyes in shock. He barged into his body. He forced his hands to touch him. Reading to the end, Shi Yao finally realized what was going on, and her face immediately flushed crimson. How was this Qin Shou writing a love letter to her? It was clearly an erotic novel. It was one thing for it to be an erotic novel, but to think that it was even a scene of two men sleeping together. Chapter 154. That Qin Shou fellow wasn't here to confess to her but to play a prank. If it's a prank, then so be it. Why must he use such a despicable and shameless method to prank me? Also, why did he have to use such a despicable and shameless method to prank me? With such thoughts in mind, Shi Yao tore the A4 paper in her hand into shreds and threw it into the bin. This is too much. I'm going to blacklist this fellow student. It was a full day of classes on Friday. Shi Yao's birthday was on Saturday, but since she wanted to return home to celebrate her birthday the next day, she chose to have a gathering with her roommates on Friday night. By the time the gathering ended, it was already 9:30 p.m. Ling Yuan and He Tian had arranged to watch a movie together, and Jiang Yu had gone on a date with a promising guy. At 8 p.m., Shi Yao received a message from Expert of the Monkeys in the Sexy and Frisky WeChat group and agreed to play together that night, so she could only return to her room. The first thing Shi Yao did after returning to her room was wash her hands, change into her pajamas, and tie up her hair. Then, she picked up her phone and appeared in the Sexy and Frisky WeChat group. Expert of the Monkeys instantly appeared, Sis Yao, we just finished a match. Hurry up and come online. Shi Yao replied with a, alright, before exiting WeChat and logging into the game. Juice was still the owner of the room. As soon as Shi Yao came online, he immediately sent Shi Yao a message. A second after Shi Yao entered the room, Juice immediately spoke up, Sis Yao, long time no see. Thinking about it, it really had been a long time since she last played. It had only been 3 days. Shi Yao turned on her voice chat, it has indeed been a long time. I was busy a few days ago, so I didn't have time to play. Expert of the monkeys, what a coincidence. We were also busy a few days ago, so we didn't have time to play. Expert of the monkeys, what a coincidence. We were also busy a few days ago, so we didn't have time to play. Unperturbed by this, Shi Yao asked calmly, what have you been busy with recently? Juice, we've been busy dating. Expert of the monkeys, don't be shameless. You haven't even gotten married yet, and you're already dating. Expert of the monkeys, Sis Yao, don't listen to my grandson's nonsense. He already has a crush on a girl, so he's been busy chasing after her. Juice, grandson, let me tell you. The girl I like will become your grandmother sooner or later. These two people must be poisonous. She just casually asked a question and they actually quarreled. Shi Yao was silent for a moment. When she entered the game, she saw that the two of them were still bickering with one another. So, while she was in the midst of the parachute jump, she spoke up, Juice, expert, do you know how amazing I've been recently? Juice, Sis Yao, you've always been amazing. Expert of the monkeys, in my heart, Sis Yao, you're invincible. Yao loves ice cream, I'm not joking with you. I'm being serious. Let me tell you something, a few days ago, when I was playing the game, I even saved a person. No, I didn't just save a person. I even saved your boss 10 times. 10 times. This is something that I wouldn't have dared to imagine before, expert of the monkeys. Wow, is it really that good? Yao loves ice cream, that's right. Not only did I save someone, I even killed someone. Chapter 155. Shi Yao felt a little smug from the compliment, and she couldn't help but boast, I killed 10 people. Expert of the monkeys, Sis Yao is going to become a PUBG. Right after Expert said those words, the 4 of them coincidentally landed on the ground. Yes, that's right. As Shi Yao spoke, she controlled her avatar to run into a room. She noticed that someone had entered the room with her, but while she had entered through the door, that person had leaped into the room from the window. I'm going to become the future sniper goddess soon. She continued her words as she bent down to pick up the loot. But before she could finish her words, a very soft chuckle sounded in her ears. Following which, the chuckle continued, when did the future sniper goddess become so weak that she can barely kill a person with 100 bullets just by standing still? Shi Yao was stunned for a second before she realized that it was 111,111 who had spoken. Will it kill me to keep quiet? Just as Shi Yao was retorting in her mind, a person suddenly jumped in front of her. She shuddered in fright, and when she took a closer look, she realized that it was 111,111. So, the person who had leaped into the room earlier was Mr. Numbers? However, Shi Yao didn't spend too much time basking in 111,111's dashing movements. She quickly spoke up, all right, even if I'm not as amazing as you said, I'm still much better than before. I think I've improved a little. At the very least, Shi Yao was about to say that she could reach her current rank. But just as the words were about to come out of her mouth, she recalled how she had reached the Immortal Star Diamond rank along with the other 3. Thus, she changed her words. At the very least, I'm at the gold rank of valor. Juice, that's not all. Sis Yao, you're at least platinum rank at the very least. Expert of the monkeys, grandson, do you know how to speak properly? Sis Yao's rank is at the glorious emperor, heh. Before expert could finish his words, 111,111 had already mocked him. Gold rank of valor. Do you have some kind of misunderstanding about the gold rank? At the very most, you're only at the hot-blooded bronze rank. Hot-blooded bronze is the lowest rank. This was too much. Even if she could not reach the gold rank, she should be able to reach the silver rank, right? Furious, Shi Yao was just about to retort when the 111,111's voice sounded in her earpiece once more. Oh, I forgot to mention something. Not only are you hot-blooded bronze at best, you're also a walking robot. Androids were robots that spawned from time to time in the game. In short, they were the ones that delivered equipment. A walking robot. Does that mean that she doesn't know anything other than walking in the game? No wonder he had never had a girlfriend and was still an old virgin. No one could save a person like him who relied on his own ability to stay single. I'm not that bad. I know how to pick up equipment, heal myself, save people, outrun the blue circle, and drive. I'm much better than a robot. In any case, I'm definitely not a hot-blooded bronze player. 111111, yes, 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 yes. You are not a hot-blooded bronze rank, you are a stubborn hot-blooded bronze rank. Chapter 156. What's the difference between a stubborn hot-blooded bronze and a hot-blooded bronze? Shi Yao suddenly felt the urge to smash her phone. Expert of the monkeys, boss, you're going too far. Juice, that's right. Boss, you really don't know how to speak properly. Expert of the monkeys, Sis Yao, let's ignore boss and chase after the airdrop. Surprisingly, didn't refute expert and Juice's words at all. Shi Yao was surprised for a moment before following expert on a motorcycle to chase after the airdrop. Other than the fact that 111,111's mouth was incomprehensibly venomous, his skill in the game was so cool that it made others kneel down and call him daddy. Compared to the 2 days when he wasn't in the best condition, he seemed to be on steroids today, leading them to the chicken dinner with 10 kills each. When it was nearing midnight, Xie Shangzhou's smoking craving finally kicked in. Since Lin Jiege didn't smoke, he forced him to smoke outdoors. Thus, he said, "Wait a moment, I'll go for a smoke." After which, the group temporarily logged out of the game. Xie Shangzhou grabbed a cigarette and headed to the balcony. Right after he lit up his cigarette, before he could even take a puff, he noticed that there were many people gathered on the balcony, looking down. As he stuffed the cigarette into his mouth, he peeked his head downstairs, and he couldn't help but exclaim, "Holy shit." Then, he turned around and called out to the people in the room, "Quick, take a look. It's a spectacular sight." Liu Benlai was the first to rush over. He took a look downstairs, and the same "holy shit" escaped his mouth. Is he confessing to someone? Who is he confessing to? Xie Shangzhou, I don't know. Let's take a look first. Liu Benlai turned to Lin Jiege, who was sitting elegantly in the dormitory room, and said, "Boss, aren't you going to take a look? This will surely go down in the history of G University. Such a gorgeous confession scene is definitely worth learning. I'll have to take a good look so that I can use it to confess to my future girlfriend." Lin Jiege replied nonchalantly, and his eyes were filled with indifference. With his full attention focused on Xie Shangzhou, he asked, "Brother downstairs, who are you? Your singing isn't too bad." The windows of the balcony were open, and Lin Jiege could vaguely hear singing drifting into the room. "I'm still waiting in this life. I can only be serious once in a lifetime. After confirming my gaze, I've met the right person. There were too many students watching this scene. When the boys downstairs reached the climax of their singing, there were countless whistles and shouts. Even Lu Benlai and Xia Shangzhou joined in on the commotion. So noisy. Frowning, Lin Jiej stood up and walked toward the balcony. He glanced downstairs indifferently. Amidst the roses and candles, a boy was holding a guitar, sitting on a chair, playing and singing. It's really boring. Is there a need to confess and cause a commotion in the school? People nowadays don't know how to keep a low profile anymore. With this thought in mind, Lin Jiej retracted his gaze, straightened his back, and prepared to return to his dormitory room. However, before he could lift his foot, the singing stopped downstairs. The boy suddenly said, "It's now midnight, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. To everyone else, this might be an ordinary day, but to me, today is the birthday of the most important person in my life. Happy birthday, Shi Yao." As if someone had sealed Lin Jiej's acupoints, he suddenly froze. Chapter 157. After saying those words, the man downstairs strummed his guitar and started singing the birthday song. "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you." After the man sang 2 lines, Xia Shangzhou finally snapped out of his daze. "Shi Yao. Did I hear wrongly?" Lu Benlai also replied in a daze, "I heard Shi Yao too." Little Junior's name. Xia Shangzhou peeked his head out to admire the scenery below as he praised, "Little Junior sure has a lot of peach blossoms." Lu Benlai was just about to say something when he suddenly thought of something and quickly shut his mouth. He turned to look at Lin Jiej. The young man didn't look any different from usual. The night breeze blew past, ruffling his hair a little, revealing his plump forehead. However, there was a hint of gloominess between his handsome brows. It was fortunate that he was quick-witted enough to keep his mouth shut. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. While Lu Benlai was rejoicing, Xia Shangzhou, oblivious to the danger, suddenly spoke up once more, Little Junior's peach blossoms aren't too bad. They look pretty good." Lu Benlai could clearly see Lin Jiej's expression darken. In consideration of their brotherly bond, he discreetly kicked Xia Shangzhou. "Screw you. Lu Benlai, why did you kick me?" Xia Shangzhou kicked Lu Benlai back as he continued commenting. "Someone said that his name is Han Jing. I've heard of that name before. He's from the arts faculty, and he even won an award for his performance last year. It's no wonder he's so good at singing. Is there something wrong with this grandson's head? He's giving me such an obvious hint, and he's actually scolding me." Noticing that the air around Lin Jiej had turned cold, Lu Benlai immediately prepared to sneak back to the dormitory room to protect himself. "Tisk, what's there to look at? How vulgar. That's not what you said earlier. You clearly said that it's worth it," Xia Shangzhou said as he turned to Lu Benlai. But instead of Lu Benlai, who had already darted back to the dormitory room, he saw Lin Jiej, who was exuding a dangerous aura. Xia Shangzhou immediately shut his mouth. 2 seconds later, he finally realized what was going on, and he quickly changed his words while sneaking back to the dormitory room. "That's right. What's there to look at? You're ruining the school's reputation." A second after stepping into the dormitory room, Xia Shangzhou was already grumbling at Lu Benlai. "Why the hell didn't you warn me earlier? Lu Benlai, are you blind? Didn't I warn you already? Was that a reminder? You're kicking me. Damn, my comprehension ability is really bad." While the two of them were busy bickering with one another, Lin Jiej, who was standing on the balcony, entered the dormitory room. The two of them immediately shut their mouths. Under their gazes, Lin Jiej walked over to his desk, sat down, switched on his laptop, and began working on his project. Lu Benlai, something's wrong with our boss. He's actually working on a project in the middle of the night. Xie Shangzhou, what do we do? I don't think we'll live through the night. The door to the balcony wasn't closed, so it didn't take long for Han Jing to finish singing. After which, he began speaking once more. Shi Yao, happy birthday. Shi Yao, I like you. Countless jeers rose one after another. Shi Yao, I like you. Happy birthday, Shi Yao. As Han Jing's voice grew louder and louder, the atmosphere in the men's dormitory 501 became more and more gloomy. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.